Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. School beauty break the engagement. Awaken chaos rootless water unknown level at start. Chapter 61. 10 p.m. A large number of people gathered around the destroyed Qinglong gang. There are news reporters, anchors, spectators watching the excitement, as well as patrol room police officers, medical staff, etc. who come to search and rescue. All the major social platforms, such as TikTok and WeChat, have completely exploded. Countless people are discussing which force did it. Until someone posted some videos on the internet and saw the rolling river water like 1,000 waves, the names of the river monster and water boy continued to spread. Certainly, there are also some people with sharp eyes who can tell at a glance that this is definitely not the work of some river monster or water boy, but a powerful natural water talent warrior. But these people chose to remain silent, because they knew that a person with such magical powers must be a water martial king. The demise of the Qinglong gang is a fact. Who would be so stupid as to take the lead? Yi Mansion Meeting Hall. Brother, sister-in-law, if Shuiye doesn't come back so late and the phone can't be reached, something must have happened to her. Please send someone to look for her quickly. Yi's mother begged anxiously. Compared with the previous few days, her face looked even more haggard. You called us here at night for such a trivial matter. It's simply ridiculous. Yi Tian, who was sitting in the position of the head of the family, shouted coldly. Ouch, as the saying goes, a girl can't stay in her prime, but that little girl is having a tryst with an old man. The eldest lady said in a strange tone. She gently lifted her collar, revealing the dazzling earth-level middle-grade spiritual weapon heart-protecting chain. How is my daughter? Does this jade pendant necklace match my mother's hair shape and this set of clothes? Mom, you still have charm. No matter what clothes you wear or what jewelry you wear, you look good. Yi Mei said with a smile. Daughter, you are really good at making mom happy. Well, I will wear this outfit to attend the auction tomorrow. I will never disgrace our Yi family. The eldest lady covered her mouth and smiled. Looking at the ugly faces of the mother and daughter in front of her, as well as the jade pendant necklace that Lin Shu gave her as a birthday gift, Yi Ma felt extremely angry. She clenched her fists with both hands, her nails digging into her flesh, as if she could not vent her anger. But with her spiritual whirlpool destroyed, her cultivation completely abandoned, and her legs now disabled, she couldn't resist at all. Shuiye has been well-behaved and sensible since she was a child. She will never date a man easily. Moreover, she always tells me wherever she goes that something must be wrong with her. For the sake of her daughter, she had no choice but to suppress the anger in her heart and continue to beg humbly. That's enough. Are you done yet? She's already such a big person, and whether she lives or dies is her destiny. Yi Tian yelled, his eyes full of impatience. Toru, do you think we should send people to look for the lost cats and dogs? You don't even know who you are. Do you really think you are still the beautiful Yi Dan Tianzhao Yi who were so famous in Zhongling? Mom, let's go. Don't worry about this dragster. Hey, it's almost 11 o'clock. Madam, I need to go to bed, otherwise it will be bad for the skin. As long as a woman is alive, she must take good care of herself, otherwise she will become a yellow-faced woman like her. The eldest lady, mother and daughter Yi Mei mocked, acting like a show-off actor. Sister-in-law, don't worry. I know a classmate whose father is a squad leader in the patrol room. I'm going to call him right now to see if I can help. Yi Ying said and took out her mobile phone. Hearing this, Yi Ma looked happy. However, the next second, Yi Ying seemed to think of something and put down her phone. Oops, I almost forgot. You have to be missing for at least 24 hours before the police station will open a case and accept it. She said with a helpless look. That's right, the rules of the patrol room are ironclad and no one can break them. This is really difficult, the second lady said coyly. She glanced at the jade pendant necklace on the eldest lady's chest from the corner of her eyes, with a hint of envy in her eyes. If I had known she would have struck first, now I am taking advantage of that arrogant fool. But when she thought of the Yu family's 300 million compensation for breaking off the engagement, her sullenness and unhappiness instantly disappeared, and she felt happy. Yi Hai on the side didn't know what he was thinking about. He looked worried and frowned. What to do? My own cultivation has been crippled and now I am paralyzed. I cannot go out to look for anyone at all. Mom, I'm back. Just when Yi Ma was extremely anxious, a familiar voice came from outside the hall. Shui, where have you been? The phone can't be connected again, I'm going to scare my mother to death. Yi's mother was extremely happy as she held Yi Shui's hand, and the hanging stone in her heart finally fell away. My cell phone was stolen. I happened to meet my brother and came back from having a midnight snack outside. Yi Shui said with a smile. She didn't mention anything about being kidnapped by the Qinglong gang. Where's Xiao Shu? As soon as she heard that Lin Shu was back, Yi's mother was overjoyed. Following the sound of footsteps, Lin Shu stepped into the meeting hall again. Not the same as last time. This time there was no trace of laughter on his face, only the endless coldness. Oh, who are you showing off to with such a dark face at night? What a bad luck. The eldest lady flicked her handkerchief, with a look of disgust and hatred on her face. She didn't forget. Not long ago, it was this little fool in front of him who had parents but no parents, shot and wounded his precious son, and also insulted her. If it weren't for the old man's protection, she would have been bleeding on the spot and kneeling on the ground begging for mercy. But it's too fast. After the old immortal died, she wanted to see who could still protect the little fool. You surnamed Lin, do you really think you are a member of my Yi family? Is this meeting hall a place you can enter at will without my father summoning you? As soon as she saw Lin Shu, Yi Mei felt an inexplicable anger in her heart, and she put her hands on her hips and shouted. After scolding Lin Shu, he seemed confused and walked to Yi Shui again. And why are you wandering around outside? We are all waiting for you. Don't you have any idea about your identity? Angry, she raised her palm and slapped Yi Shui hard. However, before her hand could fall, it was held by a strong hand. Ah, it hurts. Lin, please let go, don't let your dirty hands touch this young lady. She screamed in pain but was still extremely arrogant. I once told you that if there is another time, you will never want this hand again. Lin Shu said in a calm voice, holding Yi Mei's hand and shaking it hard. Puff, blood and flesh spattered violently, and a severed palm fell to the ground, staining a pool of dazzling blood. Ah, my hand, it hurts me to death, Dad, Mom. The heart-rending screams resounded throughout the meeting hall. The inhuman pain made Yi Mei keep rolling on the ground, keep rolling. Everything happened so fast. Everyone just watched helplessly as Yi Mei's hand was pinched off by Lin Shu. It wasn't until her shrill, painful screams resounded through the entire hall that everyone came to their senses. Lin Shu, you are so brave. You dared to destroy my daughter's hand and seek death. Yi Tian roared angrily, veins popping up on his forehead. Daughter, what's wrong with you? Someone, please take her to the hospital. The arrogant first lady was at a loss when she saw Yi Mei writhing and wailing on the ground with her severed hand. This guy. The second lady and Yi Ying saw Yi Mei's miserable state, their hearts jumped suddenly and they subconsciously stepped back. Yi Hai stared at Lin Shu with wide eyes and disbelief. He never expected that the young man in front of him would dare to act so unscrupulously. Do you really think that with the protection of the old man, you can be lawless and do whatever you want? Yi Ma was also shocked, and her face turned pale instantly. She knew that her elder brother would never give up easily. Xiao Shu, run quickly, leave Yi Mansion forever, and don't come back again. She pushed Lin Shu hard with both hands to drive him away. But no matter how hard she exerted her hands, Lin Shu remained as motionless as stone. Seeing this, she became even more anxious. Shuier, hurry up. Go to Haoshan Bamboo Forest to find your grandpa and the old housekeeper Kong. But Shui, who used to be very well behaved and obedient, looked surprisingly calm, and there was even a hint of coldness in the depths of her pupils. Mom, although we are poor, we must have backbone when we are poor. It's true that we are abandoned members of the Zhang family, but the blood of the Yi family flows in our bodies, and we are also the masters of this family. I don't want to live a life of being bullied and insulted. I don't want to accept my fate and hold my brother back because I have died twice. Over the years, my uncle's family has owed us money and it's time to pay it back. Just watch it with peace of mind. My brother is here for everything. Yi Shui put her hands on Yi Ma's shoulders and said firmly with eyes. Shui, you. Yi's mother was shocked when she heard what she said. She suddenly felt that her daughter seemed to have become a different person. Not that he has changed, but that he has really grown up. She was greatly relieved, but her mind was still as tense as a string. Even if that rumor is true, my adopted son has awakened the SSS natural water talent. But with limited growth in strength in such a short period of time, how can he compete with his elder brother? Although her eldest brother Yi Tian's talent is not as good as hers, he is still at the peak of a level. 3 years ago, the spiritual power value was 999 points, which was the peak of the 4th level martial artist. Now, he has probably broken through to the 5th level martial arts realm. Lin Shu, you are so impudent that you dare to hurt Miss Yi Mei and kill her for this protector. Protector Fang roared angrily, with that fierce look in his eyes that wanted to swallow Lin Shu alive. It's just a foster wild dog, how dare he bite his owner? And in public, doesn't it mean that he, the protector of the palace, is a loser? Boom, boom. The guards of the Yi mansion headed by him looked cruel, and their spiritual power exploded, rushing towards Lin Shu like a pack of hungry wolves. Lin Shu did not dodge when faced with the attack of these minions, but his eyes suddenly opened. Buzz. 300 points of soul power surged out like a tide. There were harsh sounds coming from the glass, jade bottles, cups, etc. in the hall, and some were even covered with spider web-like cracks. A shocking scene happened. The bodies of Protector Fang and others paused. Although they were trembling, their footsteps could not move at all, as if they were controlled by some kind of ghost. Ah, I can't move my body. Does this kid know magic? Boy Lin, what on earth have you done to us? Although they were frightened, they were still brutal and arrogant. Because this is the meeting hall of the Yi mansion, and with Yi Tian personally sitting here, can the young man in front of him make a huge difference? How could this Lin Shu have such strong mental power? Didn't the rumor say that this forest beast had awakened with an SSS level water talent? Why did his spiritual power reach 300 points? Yi Tian and Yi Hai's expressions suddenly changed, with expressions of disbelief on their faces. This son must die today, otherwise there will be endless troubles. Yi Tian's eyes were gloomy, and his whole body was full of killing intent. Boom. His body shook, and a powerful aura erupted from his body. The spiritual power gradually merges with the heaven and earth, and can fly in the air. This is the symbol of the 6th level martial master. The spiritual power merges with the momentum to form an astonishing force, which is the symbol of the 5th level martial arts. Eldest brother really broke through to Wuzong. A feeling of jealousy and envy arose in Yi Hai's heart. Kill, Dad, please kill him. Yi Mei, who had one of her hands crushed, screamed crazily, her eyes filled with resentment. Puff. The strong wind howled and the objects in the hall shook. Yi Tian's arms shook and instantly turned into yellow sand. The yellow sand and the strong wind merged together to form a sandstorm with a diameter of 5 meters with the body as the center. Natural talent. No, he can only turn his arms into a sandstorm. This is the superhuman talent. Lin Shu narrowed his pupils slightly. The natural system is the power that can turn spiritual power into water, fire, and control nature's talents. The superhuman system refers to the means by which certain parts of one's body, such as arms and hair, can be transformed into innate power. The two are fundamentally different. Death. Yi Tian roared in his throat. However, before he could launch his attack, Lin Shu moved and stretched out his right palm. Flood. The green chaotic rootless water rushed out like a flood, turning into a soft barrier that completely enveloped Yi Tian and Sandstorm. Break the waste water for me. Boom, boom. Yi Tian kept attacking with sandstorms, trying to blast them away. But what made him unbelievable and desperate was, even with all the bombardment, this seemingly fragile paper-like water ball still stood firm, only slightly turbulent. His spiritual power have reached the level of a 4th level warrior. Yi Hai's eyes widened. Hiss. As soon as these words were said, the unable to move Chief Protector Fang and others couldn't help but gasp. A 4th level warrior might not mean anything. But what about an 18-year-old 4th level warrior who has only awakened his talent for a few days? I will settle your account with you later. Lin Shu glanced contemptuously at Yi Tian, and walked towards Protector Fang calmly. What do you want to do? Don't come here. Protector Fang no longer had the arrogance before, but instead screamed in panic. He wanted to escape, but the body didn't listen at all. As Lin Shu approached step by step, his face became paler and his whole body was soaked with sweat. Did you destroy my courtyard a few days ago? Have you ever bullied my mother Yi? Have you ever bullied my little sister? Lin Shu stood in front of him and said expressionlessly. I didn't, Head Protector Fang hurriedly denied. What a joke. The young man in front of him dared to hurt Yi Mei, and he could also trap Yi Tian, who was a 5th-level martial sect. If I admit it, will there be a good ending? Really? Lin Shu smiled inexplicably. Buzz. With a few fingers, he popped up a gray water ball and poured it into Fang Gucheng's right leg. The power of the drought attribute is activated and instantly robs all the moisture of its flesh and bones. In the horrified eyes of Protector Fang, his right leg quickly turned into a dull gray, like a failed statue. There was a click. The entire right leg cracked, collapsed, turned into powder and disappeared. Why is my right leg missing? Protector Fang looked stunned, then screamed in confusion. He couldn't feel any pain at all. But his right leg was clearly shattered and broken. Could this be an illusion? I'll ask you again. Have you ever destroyed my courtyard? Have you ever bullied my mother Yi? Have you ever bullied my little sister? Lin Shu didn't pay any attention to his exclamation, but instead asked in a more serious tone. Buzz. A drop of gray chaotic rootless water condensed from his fingertips, this time pointing directly at the other person's brow. I didn't. Protector Fang still wanted to deny it, but when he saw the gray water droplet on Lin Shu's fingertip getting closer and closer, his hair stood on end. My mind felt like falling into a dark abyss, so desperate and fearful. Yes, it was the idea of the eldest lady and Miss Yi Mei. I was just following orders. Master Lin Shu, please let me go. It's my slave who deserves it, but my slave has no eyesight. As long as you spare me, you will be my master from now on. I am willing to do anything for you and become your most loyal lackey and sharpest claw. Chief Protector Fang wailed anxiously, his eyes full of pleading. Yes, the culprits of all this are the eldest lady and have nothing to do with us. As a servant, with the salary of the Yi family, I have no control over many things. Master Lin Shu, I am willing to swear that I will respect you in this life, otherwise I will be struck by lightning and die without a burial place. The other Yi mansion guards also shouted anxiously, as if they were afraid that Lin Shu wouldn't hear. Is this true? Lin Shu slowly put away the gray water droplets from his fingertips. Upon seeing this, Chief Protector Fang looked ecstatic. It's absolutely true. An 18-year-old cripple with no pulse. What bullshit. This is a warrior who has reached the 4th level of mental and spiritual power, and has also awakened his SSS talent. You must know that the beauty of the Yu family who also awakened SSS level talent is now only a 2nd level warrior. There seemed to be an unbridgeable gap between her and the boy in front of her. Besides, even if a monster like this has no background, he will definitely be respected by the 4 major martial arts schools, Tianling Pavilion, City Lord's Mansion, etc. Becoming a king or an emperor in the future is almost a matter of certainty. If they can follow him, it will definitely be a great opportunity for them, who have only awakened D-level and E-level 2nd level warriors. At the thought of this, everyone's hearts were filled with excitement. Master Lin Shu is a genius, and we will follow him to the death. I will follow you to the death. The crowd booed, and the momentum shook the entire meeting hall. When Yi Tian, who was trapped in the barrier of softness, heard this, he roared angrily. You are a bunch of rip-offs. When I break this thing, I will kill you with my own hands. The people he trained with his own hands are now turning against the enemy. One can imagine how aggrieved he felt, and the anger in his eyes seemed to be about to burst out. Yi Tian, why are you so arrogant? Now you are just fish on the iron plate. Master Lin Shu can wipe you out with just a flick of his finger. Chief Fang yelled in a bully manner. Master Lin Shu, please let this slave go, and I will cut the 2 stinky women, Madam and Yi Mei, into pieces for you to satisfy your hatred. That's right, these 2 vicious women have been bullying your family. They deserve to die. Everyone was vying to take credit. A bunch of wolf-hearted things. The eldest lady gritted her teeth, almost bursting with anger. Okay, I will give you this opportunity. Lin Shu thought for a moment and said. Hearing this, Chief Protector Fang and others were ecstatic and too excited to speak. In the next life, Lin Shu changed the subject, and pure murderous intent poured out like a tide. The cold chaotic rootless water emerged and condensed into blue needles. Although it is a body of water, it is filled with a chilly and frightening aura. Phew, phew. As he raised his hand and waved, these blue water needles instantly disappeared between the brows of Protector Fang and others at an astonishing speed. Why? Why on earth? Protector Fang's body trembled, his eyes widened, with a look of astonishment and confusion on his face. Click. Halfway through his words, a dot of blue ice emerged from between his eyebrows, and spread instantly to swallow it up, causing the blue ice corpse statues to shatter. Dead. All the guards of Yi Mansion are dead. And it was the kind of being crushed by a teenager. How can Xiao Shu's talent and strength be so strong? Yi Ma muttered as a bolt from the blue came to her mind. Is this the attitude of a strong man? Yi Shui looked at Lin Shu with admiration in her eyes, and her heart of a strong man continued to sprout. The water condensing needle can actually freeze other people. This Lin Shu. Yi Hai's heart stirred up a storm, and sweat continued to flow from his forehead. Although the young man had not yet targeted him, the domineering aura he was unconsciously leaking gave him an unprecedented sense of oppression. Didn't he just awaken his talent? How could he have such terrifying strength? The second lady's face turned pale, and an inexplicable chill rose up from the spine of her back. If he knew about the Yu family's 300 million yuan in refund money, would he, or we should admit it and hand it over ourselves? Yi Ying on the side was frightened, and her delicate body was trembling. What are you afraid of? He doesn't know. Besides, we haven't bullied your sister-in-law and her daughter during this time. We even helped them clean up the yard and even sent Qian Yexue to see a doctor. The second lady directly rejected Yi Ying's words. What a joke. How can you spit out the meat you eat in your mouth? At worst, they would leave the Yi family and go to other cities or even live in foreign countries. If you use this money to do some business, your life will be happy. Ha ha, well done. A bunch of fools who dare to betray me, they deserve to die. Seeing Chief Fang and others being killed, the eldest lady laughed loudly. Stop, don't come over, what do you want to do? I am your aunt and your elder. Even if there are millions of mistakes, you can't kill me. Tread, tread, tread. But when Lin Shu turned his head and slowly approached her, she instantly screamed in terror. Ha ha, what an aunt, what an elder. Lin Shu sneered, and his spiritual energy surged out and he raised his hand. With a loud sound, the ugly, disgusting woman in front of her was slapped away and hit hard against the wall. Puff, madam, she spurted blood wildly and looked terrified. Second uncle, why are you still standing there? Help kill this brat. Do you want to see the Yi family destroyed in his hands? That's right. If we catch these two fools Yi Yi and Yi Shui, we will definitely force him to submit. She grabbed hold of the last life-saving food and screamed at Yi Hai. Second brother, haven't you always been thinking about your position as the head of the family? Big brother, I'll help you. Our Yi family is a century-old family, how can we be destroyed in the hands of an outsider? Yi Tian, who was trapped in the soft green water barrier, was also heartbroken. Split Lung growled, the position of the head of the family. Hearing this, Piao Hai's body trembled, and he kept struggling in his heart. Snap. Just then, a loud slap suddenly sounded. Yi Yi, how dare you hit me? Looking at the woman in the wheelchair, the eldest lady exclaimed in disbelief. The injured eldest lady squatted on the ground, touching her hot face, and looked at Yi Ma in the wheelchair with disbelief. From the day she married into the Yi family, she was destined to be the future hostess, because the eldest son of the Yi family ruled the ancestral line. Even when facing the second child Yi Hai and the second wife, she always has a condescending and domineering attitude. She despises Yi Yi and Yi Shui from the bottom of her heart for Yi Yi and Yi Shui, who were abandoned by the Zhang family. They also felt that they were the broom stars, causing the Yi family to decline rapidly. As time went by, her resentment and hatred for the mother and daughter became stronger and stronger. Anyone who sees them will be severely humiliated and bullied. This was used to show her status in Yi Mansion and vent her resentment. But now this woman in front of me dares to slap herself. Ah, I'm going to kill you. Suddenly, an extremely humiliating and angry feeling burst out from her heart. As if she was crazy, she opened her hands and rushed towards Yi Ma, trying to squeeze her neck. Lin Shu noticed that his eyes were cold. However, before he could take action, a delicate body suddenly jumped out and kicked the eldest lady in the abdomen. Smelly girl, you are so brave, How dare you kick me? This forest beast is crazy, are you crazy too? I am the mistress of the Yi mansion, your elder, and your aunt. The eldest lady covered her abdomen and looked at Yi Shui with a mixture of shock and anger. If he had seen her getting so angry in the past, Yi Shui would have been timid. No matter how angry, humiliated, or unwilling you are, you can only endure it forcefully. Because in this Yi mansion, she is weak and has no power to resist. But at this moment she sneered. Ha ha, don't you think it's ridiculous that you just now remember that you are my elder and my eldest aunt? Or, do you think that because you are an elder, you can bully our family at will? Listen to me clearly. This is the Yi mansion. My mother's surname is Yi, and you are not. She is the real mistress here. She yelled the last sentence loudly. She wanted to roar out the grievances she had suffered in this mansion over the years, and the emotions and anger that had been suppressed in her heart. Even though the eldest lady was arrogant, she was still startled by the momentum she unleashed. She couldn't understand why a girl who was so weak and timid in the past suddenly became so domineering today. Especially the fierce and cold eyes made her feel as if she was being stared at by a wild beast. She never knew what happened to Yi Shui these days. First he was almost raped by the supermarket owner, and then he fell into the hands of the Qinglong gang and was tortured so cruelly. In a sense, she has died twice. Now she has long overcome her fear, and a strong seed has been planted in her heart, which is gradually sprouting. Snap! Just when the eldest lady was shocked, Yi Ma pushed the wheelchair to her face and slapped her hard again. This slap is for my daughter. Snap! This slap is for Xiao Shu. Snap! And this slap is for myself. She slapped her 3 times in succession, knocking the eldest lady unconscious. And, give my things back. Yi Ma's eyes were cold and she pulled off the jade pendant necklace from the eldest lady's neck. This is Xiao Shu's birthday gift to herself. Ever since she was snatched away by the disgusting and ugly woman in front of her, she has been thinking about and regretting it. But she was so weak and powerless at that time. No matter how aggrieved and angry she felt, she could only swallow her anger and bow her head to reality. But after Lin Shu pinched Yi Mei's wrist, sealed Yi Tian's actions, and killed Chief Feng and others, she came to her senses. If you tolerate some people, the other person will push you further. What's more, since the two sides are now fighting to the death, what else does she have to worry about? You will not die well. The eldest lady roared out of embarrassment. Boom! Her spiritual power exploded, and 2 bolts of lightning shot out from her eyes, heading towards Yi Ma and Yi Shui. Apparently, this is a talent of hers. Call out. After images flickered, Lin Shu stopped in front of the 2 of them. His left and right hands were like dragons rising out of the sea, and he squeezed the 2 thunder and lightning domineering attacks. PFF'd. The seemingly sharp and violent lightning attack was crushed as easily as a soft persimmon in his fleshy palm. What, you little fool, the eldest lady exclaimed, with a look of disbelief. By using pure physical strength to catch thunder and lightning, could it be that not only his mental and spiritual power have reached over 100, but his physical body has also reached the 4th level? Yi Hai was stunned, and a turmoil arose in his heart. Even Yi Tian, who was trapped in the barrier of softness, his pupils shrank suddenly when he saw this, and his face became more and more gloomy. You're a little beast, a little fool, do you really think I dare not kill you? Lin Shu pinched the eldest lady's neck with one hand, lifted her up into the air and said coldly. No, you can't kill me. I am the mistress of Yi Mansion and your elder. The madam's face turned red as her neck was pinched, as if she was about to suffocate. When she felt Lin Shu's killing intent, her soul buzzed violently and she screamed with all her strength. She was really scared at this moment. If you, surnamed Lin, dare to kill my mother, even if I turn into a ghost after death, I will never let you go. The blood stains on the ground turned Yi Mei into a bright red, and she roared with a ferocious face. Those scarlet, resentful eyes made him want to bite Lin Shu's bones and drink his blood. Ha ha, Lin Shu sneered at her threat and gradually used his right hand harder. Hey, there was a faint sound of bone cracking in the eldest lady's neck, and her limbs were struggling in astonishing pain. She opened her mouth and screamed desperately begging for help, desperately begging for mercy. However, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't make any sound. Only the feeling of suffocation, despair, and fear is rising. Yi Hai, the second wife, and Yi Ying's family were trembling with fear when they saw this scene, and their pale faces were covered with sweat as big as soybeans. Not to mention blocking them, they didn't even dare to say a word for fear of getting burned. Hey, everyone is here, it seems quite lively. At this moment, a slightly surprised voice came from outside the hall. I didn't know when, but 4 figures were standing there. The 4 major martial arts schools written before are now changed to Jinling Martial Arts School, Tianwang Martial Arts School, Holy Martial Arts School, and Demon Sword Martial Arts School. The Ice and Snow Saint is at Tianwang School, and Yu Yao is about to attend Tianwang School. Seeing the 4 people standing at the door of the meeting hall, Yi Tian was trapped in the soft barrier, and he seemed to have thought of something and looked overjoyed. The people who came were none other than Manager Zhang, Mr. Xiao, Black Crow, and the doctor with a goat's white beard. Are you the bell steward from Tianling Pavilion? Senior Zhang, you are here at the right time. This guy is so arrogant that he deceives his master and destroys his ancestors. Not only did he destroy one of my daughter's hands, but he also killed all the guards of my Yi family. Now he wants to kill my wife. He is simply lawless and crazy. Senior, please bring order to the chaos, kill this beast, bring light back to my Yi mansion, and promote Zhongling's dignity. Yi Tian roared passionately, unable to suppress the ecstasy in his heart. So what if this forest beast's strength and methods are unparalleled? As long as this Zhongling giant gives an order, he will die instantly without a burial place. He seemed to be able to see the desperate and frightened eyes of the young man in front of him not long after. The boss of Tianling Pavilion. Yi Mei looked stunned for a moment, then became extremely excited. Those are the real giants of Zhongling. The 2 major chambers of commerce, the 3 major wealthy families, and the 5 major gangs are simply not enough. Both my grandfather and my Yi family have done meritorious service in protecting the city and killing countless monsters in the Black Demon Forest. Now they are harmed by traitors. I ask my seniors to draw their swords to help, police the evil and punish the traitors, and kill this forest beast. She struggled to get up, roaring with a ferocious face. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The blood from the severed hand dripped onto the ground, staining it red. But at this moment, she seemed to have forgotten the pain and everything. She just wants the boy in front of her to die, she just wants him to die. There are also mother and daughter Yi Yi and Yi Shui, they all deserve to die. If this fool hadn't adopted this forest beast back then, how could she be in this situation today? The eldest lady, who had fallen into despair and was waiting for death, turned her head with difficulty, and her eyes became excited and expectant when she looked at Manager Zhang and his party. She is saved, and the end of this forest beast is coming. Why is this big shot here? Could it be that he happened to come to see Grandpa? Yi Ying said in shock. Call. The second lady breathed a sigh of relief, patted her chest and said with joy, now that the big boss is here, this farce should be over. The man named Lin can no longer stir up much trouble. Although the Yi family is in decline, it has meritorious deeds after all. When people from Tianling Pavilion come, they will definitely not ignore them. Based on Tianling Pavilion's style of conduct, they would not directly kill the person named Lin, but would instead put them in a dungeon. In this way, even if it was revealed that she had taken the Yu family's 300 million yuan in refund money, the other party would not be able to do anything to her. Thinking in her mind, the corners of her mouth raised slightly. Unlike the mother and daughter, Yi Hai frowned, and the uneasiness and doubts in his heart became more and more intense. Because he found some clues while staying out of the matter. That was when Manager Zhang and his party saw the scene in the hall. There was no expression of shock or anger on their faces, as if everything was expected. Instead, when he looked at his eldest brother, sister-in-law and others, there was a vague coldness in his eyes. What, you want to save her? Lin Shu was not surprised that Manager Zhang and others followed him. He said in a calm voice and looked at the 4 of them. Presumptuous. This is the most powerful person in Zhongling City's Tianling Pavilion. Yi Tian shouted angrily. However, before he could finish his words, Manager Zhang suddenly laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, Mr. Lin, please don't misunderstand me. I just want to see which of those blind people dare to offend you. Do you think they are too long-lived? As he spoke, he glared fiercely at Yi Tian, the eldest lady, and Yi Mei. Is there anything you need help from Xiao? I'm willing to help you. Xiao Lao said with a smile, looking like he wanted to offer chrysanthemums. As for the corpse, my pet can take care of Mr. Lin's worries. Black Crow, who was tall and wearing a special shirt, said expressionlessly. Guagua, qua. The crow on his shoulder crowed twice, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. This doctor heard from Miss Yi that her mother has disease in her legs, difficulty moving, and a heart disease, so I came here to treat her. Madam, please relax, don't be nervous, I am the chief physician of Tianling Pavilion in Zhongling. The poison of the six-eyed snake master beast kept in captivity by the Qinglong gang may be extremely powerful in the eyes of ordinary people, but to me it's just child's play. Come on, let's talk like that in the past and let me treat you slowly. I'll take care of you until the disease is cured. Old man Shan pinched his mustache and said with a smile, and then pushed the wheelchair to a corner not far away under Yi Ma's stunned and shocked eyes. Yi Shui was overjoyed and quickly followed. As for Lin Shu, she was not worried at all. My brother single-handedly destroyed the entire Qinglong gang. Is it possible that he still can't deal with his uncle's family? Boom. Unlike her joy, after hearing the words and actions of Guanxi Zhang, Mr. Xiao, He Ya, and Dr. Shan Laudo, Yi Tian, Da Furan, Yi Mei and others were completely confused. Why does the plot seem wrong? Which of the four people in front of me is not a famous figure in Zhongling City? Now he is talking about young Master Lin, and he is still being called so respectful and humble, like a bunch of licking dogs. Senior Zhang and others are not here to see the old man, but to help Lin Shu calm down and treat the little sister's leg and heart problems. After reacting, Yi Hai murmured in a daze, and his mind was clear. Thunderbolt. Ah, why is this like this? Is it to win over him? Yi Ying was dumbfounded. Hiss. The second lady gasped, a chill ran down her back, and her heart began to panic. Lin Shu was not surprised by the stance of Guanxi Zhang and others. After all, as his strength and methods continue to grow, his value and potential are enough to surpass 10 SSS freshmen, or even more. You can feel at ease now. His pupils flashed with a cold light. No, Yi Mei hissed. Puff. As Lin Shu clenched his right hand violently, flesh and blood exploded. The eldest lady is dead. But she was still staring at Lin Shu with her wide, round pupils. There are surprises and shocks. There is anger, unwillingness, resentment. There is also that strong sense of regret. She regretted why she didn't crush this little beast to death 12 years ago. At that time, she had thousands of ways to kill the other party. She hates it so much. She regrets it so much. Maybe there was too much blood loss. Or maybe seeing her mother being brutally killed like this, Yi Mei's eyes turned white and she fell into a pool of blood. Lin Shu turned a blind eye to this. His hair danced without the wind, and he slowly walked towards the soft barrier. Bang, bang, bang. With every step he took, the killing intent in his body became stronger. Wherever he passed, cracks spread out on the ground. Now it's your turn. Yi Tian. Did he still want to kill his uncle? Yi Ying was trembling all over and her face looked pale and weak. He has gone crazy. No, we can't stay here any longer, let's leave quickly. The second lady was flustered and wanted to leave. But before their family of 3 could walk out of the door, a tall figure stopped in front of them. Everyone, please be patient and stay there quietly for now. Black Crow said expressionlessly. If I guess correctly, you are the famous Lord Black Crow. You are indeed as heroic as the rumors say, and you will be king soon. It's just, my wife is feeling a little unwell right now. I would like to ask you to make it easier for me. Yi Hai is very grateful. Yi Hai seemed submissive and bowed to the Black Crow. If we talk about the next few years, who in the entire Zhongling city has the most hope of breaking through to the 7th level martial king realm? That was definitely not Yu Zontian of the Yu family, Cheng Eri of the Cheng family, or Manager Zhang who was in charge of Tianling Pavilion in a city. It was the man in front of him who had a calm expression and was wearing a military uniform. Oops, my stomach hurts so much. I beg you, sir, to make way. The second lady pinched her waist with her hands and looked in pain. This is a personal grudge between my sister-in-law's family and my uncle's family. I'm afraid it's not suitable for us to stay here, Yi Ying said with a false smile. The Black Crow remained unmoved, cherishing words like gold. But the Black Crow pupils on his shoulders turned scarlet, and the aura on his body became more and more terrifying. Yi Hai's soul trembled, and his hair stood on end. Let's just sit there for a while. He smiled awkwardly, leaning against his scalp. He took the second wife and Yi Ying and quickly retreated to a corner of the hall. His mood sank to the bottom, and his heart was constantly shrouded by a shadow. It's okay. Although we didn't treat my sister-in-law and her family very well, we didn't do anything too excessive. As for the 300 million, it is even more impossible for Lin Shu to know about it. Although the second lady, Yi Ying, mother and daughter kept comforting themselves in their hearts, the palms and backs of their hands were already cold and felt like they were sitting on pins and needles. The strange thing is, Yi Tian, who had been attacking the soft blue water barrier before, now put away his natural abilities and his expression became as calm as a mirror. The tragic death of his wife. My daughter was seriously injured and passed out in a pool of blood. It seemed that it was difficult to ignite any anger in his heart. Compared with the irritable him before, he is completely different. I admit that I underestimated you before, let's have a good talk. He said calmly. Buzz. Lin Shu waved his hand, and the barrier of softness disappeared, turning into a stream of spiritual power and pouring into his palm. The soul is 300 points, the energy is 300 points, and the constitution is 130 points. All three have broken through to the 4th level. Chaos Rootless water awakens the power of the 3 attributes of softness, coldness, and drought, plus various means such as fugue, 8-door dungeon, Sharingan, and Shenong shovel. Not to mention Yi Tian, who had just entered the 5th level martial arts sect in front of him. Even if he faced a 6th level martial master, he dared to confront him head-on. How is this possible for the elements in the natural talent to return to the spirit and enter the body? Manager Zhang exclaimed, causing an uproar in his heart. You must know that naturally gifted warriors are different from beast and superhuman warriors. The beast type uses spiritual power to summon talented spiritual beasts as one's strongest combat power. Once the innate spirit beast disappears, it will turn into spiritual power and return to the warrior's body. The same goes for the superhuman system. After the transformed things return to the body, they will be transformed into spiritual power. For example, the superhuman Yi Tian previously consumed 1,000 points of spiritual power to turn his arms into a sandstorm as a means of attack. When blasting the barrier of softness, half of the sandstorm was consumed. Then after he cancels the superpower, the remaining sandstorm will turn into his arms again, and the available spiritual power in his body will be 501,000. However, natural talent warriors are different. Once the spiritual power is converted into elements, it is difficult for the elements to return to the spirit and enter the body. Unless you practice some kind of skill above the heaven level, or reach the 6th level of martial arts, your spiritual power will gradually merge with the heaven and earth. But the young man in front of him has not broken through to the martial arts realm, and has not entered the 4 major martial arts schools to practice water-based skills above the heaven level. Why can he do it? What's more, he uses the flowing clouds and flowing water as if the water is his own body and his own body is also the water. It's incredible. As expected of the son of prophecy, our human race will surely rise in 20 years. Manager Zhang was shouting in his heart, and his eyes looking at Lin Shu became more and more fiery. He flashed and disappeared in the meeting hall instantly. Although it was late at night, he could not hold back his excitement and immediately reported the matter to the Tianling Pavilion headquarters. Lin Shu, even if we are wrong, the Yi Mansion has raised you for 12 years after all. Let's end today's matter. If you are willing, you will be my adopted son from now on, and the Yi Mansion will do its best to train you to become a talent. Yi Tian looked at Lin Shu and spoke with an equal tone and attitude for the first time. From the moment Guanxi Zhang, Mr. Xiao, Mr. He Ya and Mr. Shan expressed their intention to come, he instantly understood one thing. The young man named Lin Shu who was fostered in the Yi family in front of him was no longer the soft persimmon that he could easily bully and knead. Rather, he was a peerless evildoer who even had to lower his body to please the stewards of Tianling Pavilion. If he can seize this opportunity, the Yi family will surely return to the top in the future and become the most wealthy family in Zhongling. No. With the strength and means that the opponent just deployed, it is possible to become an emperor or a saint. By then, the Yi family's power will surely break through this small Zhongling and become the #1 power in the provincial capital. Hiss. When he thought of this, his eyes sparkled and his breathing became heavier. Ha ha, accept me as your adopted son. Are you out of your mind? And the person who raises me is not Yi Mansion, but my Yi mother. Lin Shu sneered repeatedly. When is the time to retaliate? You and I shouldn't be blinded by hatred and be rational. Reconciliation is the best choice. This is what the old man wants to see most. Yi Tian said seriously. Reconciliation. I am the woman who just killed you. Don't you want revenge? If her death can bring benefits to the family, then it is a well-deserved death. What a worthy death. What about your daughter and son? Don't you care at all? Yi Hua's injury is no longer serious. As for Meyer, she is a woman after all. If she can buy a bright future for her family with one hand, it will be a supreme honor for her as a member of the Yi family. Yi Tian's eyes were cold, as if he was not talking about his wife or children, but a few strangers. Ha ha, what a Yi Tian. You are really a morally corrupt and sanctimonious person. But I'm not you. I don't know what family interests are first. I only know that when you forced my mother Yi to marry far away from the Zhang family, she suffered all kinds of humiliation and torture. She also had her spiritual whirlpool destroyed and her cultivation ruined. And you are the culprit of all this. Lin Shu roared at the last sentence. Boom. His eyes were as bloodthirsty as a demon, and a terrifying and domineering aura erupted from his body. Feeling the pressure from Lin Shu, Yi Tian's expression suddenly changed. Lin Shu, you are still young, so many things can only be seen on the surface. When I asked my little sister to marry into the Zhang family, it was all for her own good. The Zhang family is a big family in the provincial capital, with King Wu sitting in charge. It is definitely not comparable to our Yi family. My little sister is extremely talented. If she can obtain the training resources of the Zhang family, it will not be difficult to become a martial king. What's more, the man she married is Zhang Ju, who is known as the #1 genius in the Zhang family in the past century. I don't know how many women are eager to throw themselves into his arms. It is a great blessing for my little sister to be favored by him, and it is also an opportunity for my Yi family. Besides, if my little sister didn't marry into the Zhang family and was divorced and returned to Yi Mansion, you wouldn't be adopted by her, right? Yi Tian had a serious expression and spoke eloquently. Ha ha, according to your wishes, I have to thank you. Lin Shu laughed angrily after hearing Yi Tian's absurd reasoning. Boom. The spiritual energy in his body spurted out like a volcanic explosion, and a complex mysterious mark flashed across his forehead. Not the same as before. After Chaos Rootless water awakens its drought attribute, this mysterious mark is no longer green and blue. But one is green, one is blue, and one is gray. The three intertwined and merged like dragons and phoenixes, forming a more complex and mysterious talent mark. Although it is a 4th-level spiritual power fluctuation, the pressure it can erupt is far more powerful than the ordinary Wuzong realm. Hong, Hong, he opened his palms and shook, and his spiritual power instantly became elemental. From the palm of his left hand, soft blue water gushes out. From the palm of his right hand, cold blue water gushes out. The breath of water operates automatically, and the chaotic rootless water containing the power of 2 major attributes quickly condenses into 2 ferocious beasts. A blue king of the forest. A blue grassland overlord. Roar, roar. Under his control, a tiger and a lion roared domineeringly and pounced on Yi Tian fiercely. Lin Shu, you are so stubborn. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Seeing that his words had no effect, Yi Tian roared angrily, and his eyes once again shot out with murderous intent. Since everything cannot be reconciled, there is only one way. Before this child matures, he will be completely strangled in the cradle. When his arms shook, they turned into 2 sand tornadoes and collided with the blue tiger and green lion. Boom! The astonishing impact shook the entire hall. Bang bang, bang bang. Countless tables, chairs, vases, and bookshelves were blown away. Large decorative chandeliers from the ceiling fell, and glass fragments were scattered all over the floor. The black crow raised its shirt and stood in front of Yi Ma and Yi Shui. It activated its spiritual power to form a protective shield to cover the 2 of them. Is this the SSS level natural water talent? But why does it look different from the rumored Miao tribe's water talent? Yi Hai murmured in shock. His intuition told him, After a young man enters the 4 major martial arts schools, he may become a martial arts king in less than 5 years, or even 3 years. Your talents and methods are indeed very powerful, but you are still too young after all. This world is far crueler than you imagine. Yi Tian's vicious roar came from the center of the storm. Call out. A dagger flashing with cold light and extremely powerful energy came out of the storm and pierced Lin Shu's eyebrows. The dagger's speed is astonishing, comparable to thunder and lightning, producing a sonic boom. Wherever he goes, nothingness gradually becomes distorted. No, this is not an ordinary dagger, but a heaven-level spiritual weapon. Lin Shu, get out of the way. Xiao Lao yelled in a panic. He wanted to save, but it was too late. This is. Yi Ma seemed to think of something, and her body trembled suddenly, and her face instantly turned pale. Yi Hai was horrified. This is the treasure of my Yi family, the void-breaking blade. Ha ha, everything is over, Lin Zhu. I gave you a chance, but you didn't know what to do, so you can't blame me. Yi Tian laughed wildly with a ferocious face. The void-breaking blade can penetrate even the void. Mr. Yi once used it to kill countless 5th level and 6th level monsters. No matter how evil the young man is, he will definitely die. As the void-breaking blade approached, the sharp chi emitted cut through Lin Shu's skin, causing a pain like a knife. However, despite this, he still showed no fear. His left eye closed, his right eye turned red, and it quickly transformed into Itachi God's Mangekyo Sharingan. Amaterasu. As he silently recited the word Amaterasu in his heart, a strange black flame appeared out of thin air, burning the void-breaking blade. CC. The power of the black flame is extremely domineering and will never be extinguished until it burns the target. In everyone's stunned, confused, and shocked eyes, the void-breaking blade was burned to ashes. Chaos Rootless water awakens the black flame attribute. No, this is the talent of Strange Eyes. Manager Zhang, who had just reported to the Tianling Pavilion headquarters, came back and saw this scene, and he was completely confused. With his identity, he could naturally recognize the void-breaking blade at a glance. But the more this happened, the more a bolt from the blue struck his heart. That was the treasure of the Yi family, it was a heaven-level spiritual weapon, and it was burned away by the black flames. Gulu. He swallowed hard. Immediately, he was as excited as if he had discovered a new world. He disappeared into the hall again and called the Tianling Pavilion headquarters. It seems slow, but in fact everything happens at that moment. After using Amaterasu to burn the void-breaking blade, Lin Shu teleported to Yi Tian in a fugue. You can't kill me. I am the head of the Yi family. When Yi Tian came into contact with Lin Shu's cold eyes, he came back from the shock and roared. He had never felt such fear and despair as at this moment, and his heart was completely enveloped by the breath of death. Grandpa Yi brought me back to Yi Mansion with a seriously injured body. He was kind to me, and you are his eldest son, so I will not kill you. Hearing this, Yi Tian couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. But Lin Shu's next words made his soul buzz, and he was terrified, as if he was falling into an abyss. But I want you to spend the rest of your life suffering to repay the harm you caused to Yi Ma. After saying this, Lin Shu made a stroke with his right hand, entangling a ball of colorless, chaotic and rootless water, and stamped it hard on Yi Tian's dantian. Immediately afterwards, a ray of gray light flashed in his eyes, drought attribute. Click. That was the cracking sound coming from the spiritual whirlpool. Puff. As the spiritual whirlpool collapsed, Yi Tian spat out a mouthful of blood. You destroyed my spiritual whirlpool, ah! He screamed with his eyes split open, and his face instantly turned as pale as snow. The spiritual whirlpool was destroyed, the spiritual power in the body dissipated rapidly, and a deep feeling of powerlessness and weakness surged up. His steps faltered and he fell to the ground awkwardly, his eyes full of despair, fear, and endless resentment. If your cultivation has been abolished, you can still spend time and energy to rebuild it. But once the spiritual whirlpool is destroyed, it will be difficult to rebuild it even if the saint comes in person. In other words, Yi Tian can only be a useless person from now on, allowing others to bully him, and he will never be able to hold his head high. For the ambitious man, this was undoubtedly more uncomfortable than killing him. You fool destroyed my spiritual whirlpool and destroyed my cultivation. I vow to The overwhelming resentment in his heart made his face as ferocious as a roaring beast. If eyes, resentment, and anger could kill, Lin Shu would be afraid of dying 1,000 or 10,000 times. Noisy. Leaving you alive is the greatest kindness to you. Lin Shu snorted coldly, raised his right leg and stepped hard. Click. It was the sound of bones breaking. Under his fourth-level body, this kick directly crushed the bones of Yi Tian's right leg. Madam, I have removed the toxins from your legs. Now you can stand up and try. In another corner of the hall, Old Man Shan put away the Shi Liu Mother Spirit Beast and said with a flattering smile. Mom, try it quickly. Yi Shui urged with excitement and expectation on her face. Yi Ma nodded, feeling anxious and excited, and put her feet on the ground. He tested it first, then slowly stood up. That's right. After many days, she finally stood up again. At this moment, her heart was no longer filled with fear or self-blame, but with incomparable excitement and surge. It is a feeling of being lost and found again. People who have never experienced loss, despair, and grief cannot understand it at all. Mom, your legs are fine, that's great. Woohoo. Although Yi Shui became much stronger, she still couldn't help but burst into tears when she saw her mother stand up again. Oops. Suddenly, Yi Ma lost her balance and fell into the wheelchair again. Yi Shui's expression suddenly changed with fright. Mom, what's wrong with you? Does your leg still hurt? It doesn't hurt, it just seems a little difficult to control. Yi's mother shook her head and said. Miss Yi Shui, don't panic. Madam, this is discomfort caused by her legs being inactive for a long time. As long as you get used to it slowly, you will be able to walk like flying. Old Man Shan pinched his beard and smiled. Ah, my legs. Beast, I should have killed you on the first day you entered Yi Mansion. I hate you so much. At this moment, Yi Tian's hateful roar came from not far away. At this moment, the blood vessels in his eyes burst open and blood oozed out, looking very terrifying. Shui, help me. Yi Ma's eyes gradually turned cold. With Yi Shui's support, she slowly walked up to Yi Tian. Yi, look, this is the good son you adopted. He is just a white-eyed wolf who has not been raised well. And you are the eternal sinner of my Yi family. Looking at his little sister, Yi Tian roared with anger. Snap. Yi Shui raised her hand and slapped him hard. Didn't you hear my brother tell you to shut up? If you keep crying like a wolf, I will destroy your other leg. If it were before, Yi Tian would definitely sneer at it. But now that he had lost all his cultivation and was seriously injured, he actually shuddered when he touched Yi Shui's cold eyes. My good big brother, although you are unkind to me, I cannot be unjust to you. After all, we are all blood relatives no matter what. So, just take this wheelchair and use it. It's my gift to you. Yi Ma said expressionlessly. She stood alone and pushed hard with her hand, causing the wheelchair to hit Yi Tian, who fell to the ground. Ah, the wheelchair crushed his broken foot, causing him to howl in pain again. You. Puff. Suffering severe mental trauma, severe physical pain, and being so furious, he vomited a large mouthful of blood and then fainted, not knowing whether he was alive or dead. Seeing Yi Tian's miserable state, Yi Ma felt no joy or pleasure that a great revenge had been avenged. Instead, a sense of sadness rose from her heart. Without deep hatred, who would want brother and sister to kill each other? Those are close relatives with the same blood flowing in their bodies. It's over. Brother, this lineage is completely over. Seeing all this with his own eyes, Yi Hai's heart felt cold. Dad, now that my uncle has been deposed, won't the position of head of the family fall on you? Yi Ying's eyes brightened. Yes, this is a great event. The second lady looked excited. The mother and daughter looked at each other with great understanding and instantly smiled. Shui, are you not injured? Let your cousin take a look. Congratulations to my sister-in-law for recovering from both her leg and heart problems. This is a great blessing for our Yi family. Let me just say, my sister-in-law is kind-hearted and will be blessed by God. In my opinion, Mom, you prayed for my sister-in-law's blessings at the Bodhisattva temple and sincerely thanked the true spirit, so that my sister-in-law had good luck and frightened her away from the disease. They walked up to Yi Ma and Yi Shui, greeted them with greetings and smiled coquettishly. Sister-in-law, Shui, don't worry. Yi Hai is still here in the Yi mansion, and he will definitely take good care of you in the future. After all, we are all a family, so there is no difference between us. What Mom said. From now on, we must unite as one to strengthen the Yi family and restore its former glory. Just like we helped you clean up the yard and saw Qian Shui's doctor before, we must help each other. It's getting late by then. Let's go back to the second room first. After acting coyly, the second lady pulled Yi Ying to leave, and even gave Yi Hai a wink secretly. Yi Ma and Yi Shui frowned, but didn't say much. How could they not see that the second madam and Yi Ying were two extremely hypocritical women? It's just compared to the cruelty and arrogance of the eldest lady and Yi Mei. At best, the other party was just mocking and gloating about their misfortune, but at least it did not cause any real harm to them. Just when Yi Hai, the second lady, and Yi Ying were about to step out of the door of the meeting hall, Lin Shu's cold voice came from behind. Do you think you can leave here safe and sound unless you explain the 300 million things clearly? Boom. As soon as these words were said, the expressions of the family of three suddenly changed. Yi Ying's legs even softened and she fell to the ground paralyzed, her delicate body trembling continuously. Oops, how did he know about the 300 million? Lin Shu's words made the second lady's heart skip a beat. Yi Hai also secretly thought that something was wrong, and his heart was completely shrouded in haze. Xiao Shu, what did you say? Where did the 300 million come from? Brother, what are you? Yi Ma and Yi Shui looked confused. But when they saw Yi Ying's reaction and Lin Shu's cold eyes, they immediately understood that this matter was not simple, and they were afraid that there was something hidden. How can there be 300 million? Xiao Shu, have you heard some rumors outside? People today, they just like to communicate with each other. Some words should not be easily believed. The second lady pretended to be calm and said with a false smile. Yes, Xiao Shu, is there any misunderstanding in this? Yi Hai also spoke, but he felt guilty and sweat continued to drip from his forehead. What's wrong? It's only been a few days, have you forgotten the 300 million you family paid to break off the engagement? How about, let me remember it for you? Lin Shu said coldly, the palm of his right hand rising slowly. Gulu, gulu. The chaotic rootless water containing the attribute of drought surged out, condensing 3 gray pythons. They swallowed the snake letter and stared at Yi Hai, the second lady, and Yi Ying. It seemed that as long as Lin Shu gave an order, the 3 of them would be swallowed up instantly. Xiao Shu, please calm down first and say what you have to say. Little sister, please tell him to stop. We are a family. The Yu family broke off their engagement for 300 million yuan. This is definitely a rumor. There is no such thing at all. Sister-in-law, cousin, have you forgotten? We could clean up the yard for you and give you money to go to the doctor. The 3 people shouted anxiously and frightenedly. You can see the horror of this gray water with your own eyes. Previously, the head protector Fang's entire right leg collapsed due to contact with this gray water. You really don't shed tears until you see the coffin. It seems that you want to follow in the footsteps of Yi Tian and Yi Mei. Lin Shu sneered, murderous intent filling the air. Since his soul power reached 300 points, his vision, hearing, and smell have become more than 10 times stronger than before. Because of this, all the private conversations of this family were heard by him. Thinking back to what Yu Yao said in the elevator, he already had a guess in his mind. Haha, I want to know if it's a misunderstanding, if it's a rumor, and what's so difficult about it. I'll know after I call the Yu family and ask. Manager Zong's heroic laughter came from outside the hall. It seems that after reporting to the Tianling Pavilion headquarters, he received praise or a reward from his immediate superior. Otherwise, he would not be so happy and delighted. Defrauding money from another person in his or her name without their consent will result in a sentence of 3 years in prison or the death penalty in the worst case. 300 million is not a small amount of money. It requires at least 50 years of imprisonment. Mr. Xiao pinched his beard, looked at the second madam and his group with deep meaning and smiled. If a gang commits a crime, the sentence will be increased. Dr. Shan Laudo also joined in the fun. Yes, yes, yes. It has to be added, it must be added, it will take at least 100 years. Mr. Xiao agreed repeatedly. Even Black Crow, who cherishes words like gold and has always been calm, said for the first time, Master Lin is an important figure in Tianling Pavilion, so his crime and punishment will be doubled. That's right, for someone who cheated Tianling Pavilion with a huge amount of money and a gang, he must be severely punished. 200 years of imprisonment will definitely not escape him, Mr. Xiao said loudly, not forgetting to give Black Crow an appreciative look. 2 years in prison, 200 years. As soon as these words were said, the second lady, Yi Ying, mother and daughter were completely frightened. You must know that the maximum lifespan of a 5th-level martial arts monk is only 150 years old. The lifespan of a 6th-level martial lord is 200 years. The lifespan of a 7th-level martial king is 300 years. The lifespan of an 8th-level martial emperor is 500 years. The lifespan of a 9th-level saint is no more than 1,000. In other words, once you are imprisoned, you will never be able to get out and will die in prison. Hey, is this old man you? I have something to ask you. At this moment, Manager Zhang dialed the phone. Hiss. In an instant, Yi Hai, the second lady, and Yi Ying's family were all horrified and panicked. No, the Yu family's 300 million yuan refund of the wedding fee can never be hidden. Only by taking the initiative to plead guilty can we have a chance of survival. Xiao Shu, it's my second uncle who is sorry for you, and it's me who was obsessed with it and used your name to ask for 300 million in divorce fees from the Yu family. Yi Hai gritted his teeth, took a step forward and knelt on the ground. Boom. Lin Shu, who had already guessed about 70% or 80%, didn't have much change in his expression. He's mother, Yi Shui and her daughter felt a bolt from the blue in their minds. They never expected that their second uncle's family would do such a shameless thing. Second uncle, you are so disgusting. You actually took it upon yourself to ask for the refund of the wedding fee from the Yu family. How will my brother hold his head up when he meets the Yu family in the future? It's a waste that I always thought you were better than my uncle. It turns out everything is false. Yi Shui glared and shouted angrily, furious. Yi Hai did not refute her scolding, but lowered his head with a guilty look on his face. It's over. It's all over now. The second lady seemed to have lost all her strength, she was paralyzed and murmuring in a daze. Lin Shu, sister-in-law, Shui, this has nothing to do with my dad. It's all my fault. It was the bad idea I proposed to my mom at the time. I'm sorry for you. Yi Ying, who knew she could not escape, knelt down decisively and blinked red. At this time she was extremely remorseful. If she hadn't had a bad intention at the beginning, how could things have ended up like this? I thought you, cousin Yi Ying, were different from Yi Mei, but I didn't expect. You let me down so much. Yi Shui was heartbroken. Suddenly, I felt that although this Yi mansion was big, no one really treated their family sincerely. How ridiculous. How sad. If it hadn't been for Xiao Shu today, would you have planned to hide it from me for the rest of your life? Yi Ma looked at Yi Hai sadly. Looking at this biological second brother who used to hold her and fly kites when she was little, and take her to play in the fields and catch shrimps with her. Those beautiful memories from the past kept turning into shadows and disappearing in her mind. And the second sister-in-law, Yi Ying, you really put on a good show. In Xiaoshu's name, he defrauded the Yu family of 300 million, but he actually pretended to care about us, sending warmth and money for medical treatment. 300 million for 3,000. Your faces are really ugly, haha. Yi Ma laughed sadly. Sister-in-law, I know I was wrong. I beg you to forgive us. I swear I will treat you sincerely in the future. Feeling frightened, Yi Ying cried and begged for mercy, hugging Yi Ma's feet tightly. Bang! Let go of your dirty hands. My mother's legs are not fully flexible. If you trip her, I will never let you go. Yi Shui kicked her away mercilessly. Xiao Shu, Mom, I'm tired. You can take care of this matter yourself. Don't worry about me. Yi Ma took Yi Shui out of the meeting hall. Although her leg ailments and heart ailments were cured, the wounds on her soul today may not be healed in this lifetime. Her back looks so lonely. Just tell me how to deal with Brother Lin's family. Manager Zhang said with a smile, and even changed his title, looking like a younger brother who was willing to ride the horse. The faces of the second lady, Yi Hai and Yi Ying, were earth-colored, as if they were waiting for the judgment of death. This matter. Lin Shu was silent for a moment and was about to speak. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Buzz. The space was distorted, and an old figure covered in blood fell in the hall. The person who came was none other than the old housekeeper, Kong Shang, who was almost always with Mr. Yi. Old master, he fainted just before he finished speaking. The chest, shoulders, hands and feet were all penetrated by a kind of black wood, and the blood was stained red. In the bamboo forest behind Yi Mansion, the simple wooden house has now been blasted. There was a mess all around, and the sand on the ground was splashed with blood. And Mr. Yi has long since disappeared. Guagua, guagua. In the pitch-black void, a large group of crows were circling, a pair of eyes flashing with strange light. How is it? Manager Zhang asked solemnly. Black Crow slowly opened his eyes, shook his head lightly and said, "There is no aura left. The person who comes here is probably far superior to me in strength and means." Hearing this, Manager Zhang's heart sank. Old housekeeper is awake. At this moment, Mr. Xiao rushed over. Manager Zhang and Black Crow looked at each other and disappeared from their place in an instant. In a certain room in Yi Mansion, Shi Liu Mu, a 6th-level spiritual beast that was in and out of existence, swam its soft tentacles, constantly releasing wisps of energy to treat the seriously injured old housekeeper Kong Shang. "How is the situation?" Manager Zhang came over and asked urgently. "It's not life-threatening, but these black trees are very strange. There is a kind of power that swallows the wound. It will take a long time to fully recover," Dr. Shan Laudo said with a frown. In all his years of practicing medicine, this was the first time he encountered such a difficult wooden weapon. "Master Steward, you are knowledgeable, do you know this piece of wood?" Mr. Xiao asked. "Let's take a look," Manager Zhang said, picking up a piece of blood-stained black wood. The next second his expression suddenly changed. This tree can swallow spiritual power. Although with his cultivation level, he is not afraid of such a black tree, but what if there are 10 or 100? No wonder the old housekeeper was injured to such an extent with his strength. "What happened? Where is Grandpa Yi?" Lin Shu asked with a gloomy face. In this Yi Mansion, except for Yi Ma and Shui, Grandpa Yi is the only one who doesn't treat him as an outsider. Ahem, the old slave was incompetent and failed to protect the old man, causing him to be assassinated by the unfilial son Yi Hua. Even his body could not be preserved. The old housekeeper coughed weakly and said with a look of guilt and shame. "What? That ungrateful eldest grandson Yi Hua? No, this is absolutely impossible." Manager Zhang and Mr. Xiao exclaimed, their expressions full of disbelief. Even Lin Shu was stunned when he heard the name Yi Hua. Even if the old man puts down his guard and is successfully attacked by Yi Hua, with his little strength and means, how could he hurt you like this, Kong Lao? Yi Hai knelt on the ground with eyes filled with strong disbelief. Hey, if it were the former young master Yi Hua, it would be impossible for him to do it, but he seems to be controlled by some monster, like an evil spirit. Not only can it control a kind of weird evil vine that can't be cut off, but it can also absorb black wood color and even become a demon. If he didn't want to continue to struggle with me, or he was afraid of alerting the city lord, the old slave wouldn't be able to come back. As if remembering Yi Hua's previous horror, the old housekeeper still had lingering fears. Devil eyes. Did he become a demon apostle? Manager Zhang's expression suddenly changed, and his face turned pale. 30,000 years ago, the 9 monuments descended from heaven, and after the spiritual energy was revived, the entire world discovered astonishing changes. Some wild beasts and even poultry mutated and became monsters. Some ancient terrifying creatures are also awakening one after another, including alien invasion species. There are even some gods, demons, evil spirits, etc. from higher-level alien spaces that are watching. Once humans sign a blood contract with gods, demons, and evil spirits, they can gain power that is 1,000 or 10,000 times greater than that of ordinary people. Such people are called apostles of gods, apostles of demons, and apostles of evil spirits. Of course, there is no free lunch in the world. If you want to gain great power, you must pay a price. Therefore, some people sell their souls, some use their own eyes as sacrifices, and some use blood relatives as sacrifices. If Yi Hua really becomes the devil's apostle, he will be in big trouble. Guanxi Zhang, Mr. Xiao, Heya and Mr. Shan became very worried. I should have killed him completely with that shot. Grandpa Yi wouldn't have. Lin Shu clenched his hands into fists, his eyes filled with hatred and regret. Young Master Lin Shu, you don't have to blame yourself. Even if the old man is not in this fate, he only has a few days to live. The old housekeeper sighed. If Yi Hua signed a blood contract with a certain demon, then there are only two reasons for him to attack Mr. Yi. 1. He has resentment towards Mr. Yi in his heart, and after gaining strength, he wants to kill him to vent his anger. 2. The one who wants to take Mr. Yi's life is the devil behind him. But since the person was killed, why did he take the body away and leave? Manager Zhang analyzed. I don't know the specific reason, but I feel that young Master Yi Hua seems to be looking for something. He once mentioned a secret key. The old housekeeper tried to recall. Secret key. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at each other in shock. Because it was their first time hearing this name. By the way, Mr. Lin Shu, this is what the old man left for you. The old housekeeper sat up with difficulty and took out a jade box from his arms. The jade box was opened, revealing a crystal-clear elixir the size of a pigeon egg. This is the body-tempering pill. Mr. Xiao exclaimed with his eyes wide open. What a body-tempering elixir. Judging from the quality, it has reached the highest level of heaven. The elixir contains a wisp of ancient elixir energy. Dr. Shan Laudo was very excited and took a magnifying glass to observe carefully. I heard that Yu Lao entered a secret realm 20 years ago and almost died and obtained a body-tempering pill. Could it be this pill? Manager Zhang stroked his beard with profound meaning. Guan Zhang has a keen eye for things. It is this elixir that the old man asked for from the Yu family for compensation for Mr. Lin Shu's breakup with Miss Yu Yao. The old housekeeper said slowly. Mr. Lin, your physique is different from ordinary people. If you take this body-tempering pill, you will be able to rival the demon clan. Old man Shan said excitedly. I, Lin Shu, don't need charity or sympathy from others. Even without this body-tempering pill, I can reach the top of this world. Yi Hai, I think you are a responsible man. I will give you a chance to atone for your sins. Return this body-tempering pill and the 300 million to the Yu family intact. I want everyone in Zhongling to know that the Yu family has never owed Lin Shu. And I, Lin Shu, have never owed anything to the Yu family, nor have I ever fallen in love with that woman, nor have I ever thought of clinging to her. Lin Shu's eyes were cold. He threw the jade box in front of Yi Hai, and said with an imposing manner. Master Lin, please don't act out of anger. Old man Shan became very anxious upon hearing this. Because no one here knows better than him how valuable and amazing the efficacy of this body-tempering pill is. Brother Lin said it well, he has backbone and is a man. Isn't it just a body-tempering pill? If the Yu family can give it, our Tianling Pavilion can give it. If the Yu family can't give it, our Tianling Pavilion can also give it. Unlike old man Shan who hates iron for not becoming steel, Manager Zhang said with admiration. Looking at the jade box in front of him, Yi Hai silently accepted it, kowtowed 3 times before retreating. His wife and daughter deceived not only the young man in front of him, but also the Yu family, one of the 3 wealthy families in Zhongling. Once the matter is exposed, with Mrs. Yu's temper and acting style, he is afraid that his trip will be misfortune. But for the sake of his wife and daughter, he went to Tiger Mountain even though he knew there was a tiger in the mountain. Because he has no choice. This is the price their family pays for being greedy and doing wrong things. Chapter 71. The night was hazy, dark clouds obscured the stars and moon. In the room, Lin Shu turned around and found a ring in his palm. This was exactly what he got from killing the red-robed messenger surnamed Fan at Shangguan's house. He originally thought that with his current strength and means, he could gain a foothold in Zhongling City and protect his relatives around him. But Yi Hua became the devil's apostle and assassinated Mr. Yi, making him feel the sense of crisis again. With that guy's narrow-minded and vengeful character, he will definitely seek revenge on himself. He is not afraid, even if it affects Yi's mother and little sister. Before this comes, he must become stronger. A hissing sound. Although the space ring has restrictions, it was finally broken through his soul power and Sharingan ability. A red robe, a red mask, a divine lotus token, a strange jade pendant, 6 crystal nuclei. No, this is not a crystal nucleus. It is a 5th-level demon crystal that has not been refined and contains violent demon power in its body. If an ordinary warrior dares to directly absorb the power of the demon crystal, his meridians will be damaged at least, his mind will be confused at worst, and his body will even explode to death. Now that my physique has reached the 4th level, and I practice the God-level technique, water breathing, I may be able to. Lin Shu's eyes flashed with a hint of madness. He took a long breath and immediately sat up cross-legged to practice the seals. With a thought, a 5th-level demon crystal slowly floated in the air, blooming with a mysterious light. Outside Zhongling City, there is a deserted land. A black figure passed through the void, and countless ferocious birds and beasts looking for food at night were frightened and fled. Hiss. This is actually a monster with a human body shape and face, but with a pair of black demon wings on its back. His demonic tail was wrapped around a corpse whose chest was penetrated and dripping with blood. Ruo Linshu would be very angry here, because this corpse is none other than Mr. Yi. And this monster, which looks like a human but not a human, looks like a demon but not a demon, is the demonized Yi Hua. Boom! Suddenly, a majestic and astonishing aura emerged from the towering building in the city. Could it be that person with such a powerful aura? Yi Hua suddenly changed his color. Jia, he's just a mere king of Wu, not enough to cause any trouble. When your body can withstand 10% of this demon's power, killing him will be as easy as crushing an ant. As for now, you'd better avoid the edge for now. Demonic energy billowed, and the space became distorted. The shadow of a huge demon appeared behind Yi Hua, with his arms folded across his chest and a condescending look on his face, smiling evilly. Lin Shu, just wait and see. Next time we meet, I will cut you into pieces. I want the entire Zhongling city to surrender at my feet, including the woman named Yu, haha. Yi Hua laughed wildly, and strange vines spread out from the devil's wings on his back. Suddenly, the aura on his body increased sharply. A flap of the magic wings set off an astonishing storm across the night. Soon, a burly figure stood in the air. The person who came was none other than the most powerful man in Zhongling, the city lord Zhao Tianba, who had just left the border. Run away. There is still the aura of the devil in the air, I'm afraid it's a devil apostle. Looking at the direction Yi Hua was leaving, his face looked extremely ugly. The devil apostles can no longer be called a human race, but a foreign race. The growth rate of this alien race is very alarming. If it cannot be killed in time, the consequences will be disastrous. Brother, you are out of seclusion. With you personally taking charge, the Divine Lotus sect will definitely not dare to be rampant again. A man flew up from the sky and said excitedly. The visitor is Zhao Tiangong, the general protecting the city. What? The Divine Lotus sect and the Blood Biao gang attacked Shangguan Mansion. Evil cults and traitors. After hearing Zhao Tiangong's report, Zhao Tianba was furious, and his horrifying murderous intent spread like a tide. All wild beasts and birds within a radius of 20 miles were terrified and trembling. The sun rose the next day, dispelling the darkness and haze. It seems that in this era when evil spirits are awakening and monsters are rampant, there is still a glimmer of hope for the human race. Why are you still hesitating? This is a great opportunity for you to show your loyalty to Master Shang. There is no free lunch in the world. If you want to borrow money, you have to use it for young Master Shang. Sun Ji, you have to think clearly. Your parents owe loan sharks. If you don't have Shang Xiao's help, you will just wait to collect their bodies for them. On a park lawn, Yi Shui's best friend Sun Ji was surrounded by a group of people. It was the guy who General Lin Shu had teased and beaten before in Zhexiang Tower. Shang Feng, Shang Xiao, who is admitted to Xuanying Martial Arts School, as well as the heroine Jian Yuan and the flat-headed male protagonist who performed in the Dragon and Phoenix drama are also among them. Every time Peng thought about what happened that night, everyone's faces turned pale and they gritted their teeth. Especially Jian Yuan and the boy with the crew cut, their hatred for Lin Shu was overwhelming. Sun Ji, what are you worried about? We won't hurt Shui and her brother. We just think that Lin has some strength and means, and we want him to team up with us to go to the Black Demon Forest. Jian Yuan said with a smile, his eyes flashed with viciousness. Sun Ji hesitated, although she didn't know much about what happened that night. But he also vaguely guessed that the injuries on Shang Xiao, the boy with the crew cut and others were probably related to Lin Shu. This time I invited brother and sister Shui and Lin Shu, I'm afraid they have bad intentions. There are 3 million in this card. As long as you can invite Yi Shui and his brother into the Black Demon Forest, it will be yours. Shang Xiao condescendingly threw out a bank card. The strange thing is that everyone else was injured, but he was not. The foot that was kicked off by Lin Shu that day fully recovered. There was a click. The fifth order demon crystal shattered and turned into powder and disappeared completely. Lin Shu, who was sitting cross-legged, slowly opened his eyes shining brightly. Boom! A far more powerful aura than before surged from his body. The breathing of water is worthy of being a god-level skill. I'm afraid it's 100 or 1,000 times more powerful than the Miao clan's 9-fold water diversion technique, he said with an excited expression. In one night, he actually absorbed 6 fifth-order demon crystals. The spiritual power value in the body increased from 300 points to 800 points, and the cultivation level reached the late stage of a 4th-level warrior. Suddenly, as if he sensed something, his expression moved and he pushed the door open. Yi Shui was standing outside. Brother, I want to enter the Black Demon Forest. What? Lin Shu's expression suddenly changed upon hearing this. The Black Demon Forest is the home of demonic beasts and alien races, and has many demon kings. Even if the powerful Wu Zong and Wu Zun dare to go deep, they will die without a burial place. Yi Shui didn't hide anything and told Sun Ji everything about calling her to meet with her. And Sun Ji also confessed everything to her. She said that her parents had borrowed money from usury, and Shang Xiao wanted to take advantage of her, thus seeking revenge on the 2 siblings. Lin Shu fell silent, his eyes flickering. The 3 million loan shark Sun Ji owed was nothing more than a drop in the bucket to him who now had 2 billion in his pocket. Tell Sun Ji that I will settle the money for her. There is no need for you to take risks in the Black Demon Forest, Lin Shu said seriously. No, I must go to the Black Demon Forest. This has nothing to do with Sun Ji, but because I want to awaken my talent in advance. Yi Shui's eyes flashed with determination. Awakening talents in advance? What do you mean? Lin Shu was stunned. Brother Lin, you don't know something. An ancient ruin has appeared in the Black Demon Forest, and there are 2 kinds of rare fruits in it. One is called Su Ling Guo. After being eaten directly, it can awaken people's natural abilities in advance. The other type is called the Super Spirit Fruit. After being eaten directly, it can increase the level of the awakened talent or ability, or awaken it a second time. Just then, the bell steward's voice rang. Suling Fruit, Super Spiritual Fruit. The former can allow people to awaken talents in advance, and the latter can allow people to evolve their talent levels or even awaken them a second time. Even though Lin Shu was extremely ambitious, he couldn't help but stir up a storm in his heart. Actually, as early as 18 years ago, we, Tianling Pavilion, received news that a team of demon hunters accidentally entered a certain area of the Black Demon Forest and discovered the ancient ruins. Out of curiosity and greed, they stepped into it to find treasures. However, more than 100 people entered it, and only one survived in the end. This person's talent has evolved from a level to S level, and he has also gained the power of a second awakening. I was extremely shocked when I learned about it, and the United City Lord's mansion immediately blocked the news. Over the years, we have continuously sent people to explore, and finally discovered some patterns. This ancient ruins will be opened every 6 years. Only people under the age of 20 can enter, otherwise they will be swallowed up by some kind of power and die. In addition to Suling Fruit and Super Spirit Fruit, there are also many high-level pills, weapons, techniques, etc. This is a map that I, Tianling Pavilion, have carefully studied for many years. Although it is not complete, it can play a big role. The circled area represents a safe area, where there are relatively few natural resources and treasures. The crossed places represent dangerous areas, where ferocious monsters and aliens lurk, but they are also places where treasures are hidden. As for the location of Suling Fruit and Super Spirit Fruit, this is still a mystery. Because the place where they appear is different every time, as if they were random. Also, whether it is Suling Fruit or Super Spirit Fruit, it must be eaten in the ruins to have miraculous effects. Once left, it will quickly decay. In order to clear up Lin Shu's doubts, Manager Zhang explained in detail. Grandpa Zhang, can you give me this map? Yi Shui's eyes lit up. This is just a copy, of course there is no problem. Manager Zhang said with a disapproving smile. She excitedly put it away and regarded it as a treasure. With this map, her trip would be more secure. Lin Shu still frowned, his eyes uncertain. No matter how good the Su Ling Guo and Super Spirit Guo were, he didn't want his little sister to take risks. Moreover, there are still Shang Xiao and others watching with eager eyes. How can he rest assured? Brother Lin, if you are worried about your sister's safety, Tianling Pavilion can relieve your worries. Manager Zhang said with a smile. Wu Lu, Ming Lu. The wind howled, and a Tianling Pavilion special plane landed slowly. The three figures of Dr. He Ya, Mr. Xiao and Mr. Shan have been waiting for a long time. The plane door opened, and two figures jumped directly from a height of 30 meters in the air. Ouch! One of the girls, who seemed to be about the same age as Yi Shui, accidentally lost her footing and fell to the ground. She screamed in pain, with a look of grievance on her face and tears in her eyes. The other person is a heroic female warrior wearing armor, carrying a silver spear on her back, and hanging two swords on her waist. This person is very strong. The strength can definitely crush the Qinglong gang's Lu Qijiao and Shui Biao gang leaders, and even surpass Shangguan Wuliang. This is Lin Shu's first feeling about female warriors. As for the seemingly fragile, nervous and timid girl, he couldn't see through it at all. Guan Ning has met with Manager Zhang and has met all of you. The female soldier gave a military salute. My name is Xiaoqi, please give me your advice. The girl lowered her head and said weakly, looking very shy. Brother Lin, Mrs. Yi, and Miss Yi, let me introduce you. Her name is Guan Ning, she belongs to the Tianling Pavilion headquarters, and she has been ordered by the deputy master to protect your safety. Her name is Xiaoqi. Although she is weak and timid and likes to cry, she is very reliable in critical moments. If she accompanies Yi Xiaomei into the Black Demon Forest, it shouldn't be a big problem. Manager Zhang stroked his beard and smiled. Shui, you want to enter the Black Demon Forest? No, it's too dangerous. Yi's mother was anxious. Mom, I listened to you in everything before, but not this time. I have to go, Yi Shui said firmly. Hey. Seeing how determined she was, Yi's mother's face suddenly changed and she had no choice but to look at Lin Shu. Lin Shu didn't speak, but his eyes suddenly opened wide. Boom! Powerful spiritual power surged from his body, creating a flow of air. What? 800 spiritual power points. Mr. Lin Shu's spiritual power was only 300 points yesterday. Why did he, overnight? His cultivation level has reached the late 4th level. Feeling the fluctuation of spiritual energy in his body, Guanxi Zhang, Mr. Xiao, Dr. Shan Laodo and others screamed, feeling extremely horrified. You have only awakened your talent within a few days and you have such a level of cultivation that you can compare with those talented sons of ancient tribes who have lived for thousands of years. No, this boy may be better. Because he has not been trained by the clan, he can reach this stage entirely due to his own evil talent. No wonder he is so valued by Master and sent me to protect his family. The female warrior Guan Ning also looked shocked. When she first learned that she was arranged to come to Zhongling City as a bodyguard, she felt very unhappy. After all, given her character, she still likes to go to the borders and outside the territory to kill monsters and aliens. But now the young man named Lin Shu in front of her made her a little interested. The veins in Lin Shu's arms popped out, like a ferocious humanoid beast that suddenly jumped out and rushed straight towards the girl named Xiaoqi who was still stunned. With 800 spiritual power and 130 physical strength, he punched domineeringly without reservation. There was a bang. The girl Xiaoqi was hit in the chest by a punch. Her arrogant little body was blown dozens of meters like a kite without strings, and hit a stone pillar. Click! The amazing punching power and impact completely shattered the stone pillar. After several rolls, she fell on her back and remained motionless. Brother, why did you suddenly hurt someone? Xiao Shu, you. Lin Shu's sudden attack frightened Yi Shui and Yi Ma. Even Dr. Shan Laodo was worried and immediately summoned the 6th level spirit beast Shilai to heal his mother, preparing to treat the girl Xiaoqi. Lin Shu frowned and looked at his hands with confusion. At this moment, the panel information about the girl came to his mind. He didn't know what he saw, but his eyes widened. There is shock. There is incredible. There is also a kind of relief. Did Xiaoqi do something bad? Did he do something wrong? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Everything is my fault. I will definitely be obedient and change my ways in the future. I beg you all to forgive me. Please don't let Xiaoqi go, woo woo. Xiaoqi, the girl who fell to the ground, suddenly stood up as if nothing had happened and dusted her clothes a few times. She cried, bowed her head and apologized repeatedly, looking scared and nervous. Hey, no injuries at all. Mr. Xiao was shocked. The girl just now did not have any spiritual power or talent to resist this blow. Strange, how could it be like this? Dr. Shan Laodo also looked puzzled. Only Manager Zhang still touched his beard and looked at Lin Shu with an inexplicable smile. Don't underestimate her. Lin Shu nodded lightly. When will the ancient ruins be opened? 2 days later. The period is 7 days. If you can't come out in time, you will be sealed for 6 years. The outer forests of the Black Demon Forest are generally first, second, and third order. These low-level monsters move within their range. But the inner forest is a place where ferocious monsters of the 4th, 5th, and 6th levels gather, and the danger is increased to 100 times. As for the core area of the Black Demon Forest, there is a powerful Demon King there, and there is even a Demon King level terrifying existence. It has been designated as one of the forbidden areas by the country. The ancient ruins are between the outer forest and the inner forest. As long as we don't alert those scary guys deep in the core area, the risk of this trip is still controllable. The ancient ruins, Suling fruit, and super spiritual fruit have been widely circulated and everyone in the world knows about it. In addition, the college entrance examination will be held in 10 days. Prodigies from provincial families, major martial arts schools, and even disciples from the 10,000 years ancient clan are all coming to Zhongling City one after another, hoping to find that great opportunity. After all, the better your college entrance examination scores are, the more and better training resources you can get whether you enter the 4 major martial arts schools or stay in your family. To avoid unnecessary complications, if Brother Ruolin and Xiaomei Yi meet these people, please don't conflict with them easily. Especially the disciples of the ancient clan. These people have strong backgrounds as backers. They are arrogant, fierce, and powerful. Even Tianling Pavilion cannot restrain them. Try to avoid them. Manager Zhang said with serious eyes. After learning from Sun Ji that Yi Shui and Lin Shu would also go to the Black Demon Forest, Shang Feng's mouth curved. When he got home, he locked the door and carefully moved a wooden box out of the secret compartment under the bed. This wooden box is old, but the dark body is stained with some blood. The strange thing is that these blood stains are actually alive, and they slowly swim away and turn into some special bloody spells. When the bloody spell spread throughout the wooden box, it was opened. Suddenly, a strange gray mist surged out. The black wooden box contained a finger. No, to be more precise, it's a skull finger bone. I have already done what I promised you. When will you fulfill your promise? Shang Feng asked with excitement on his face as if he was used to it. Jia, this emperor has always kept his promise. When that happens, you will gain unparalleled power. The gray mist surged and condensed into a skull. There are 2 blue flames jumping in his empty eye sockets, which makes people shudder. Hearing this, Shang Feng smiled ferociously and said, Lin Shu, Yi Shui, just wait and see. The Black Demon Forest is where you will be buried, haha. The whole house was filled with his arrogant laughter. Lin Shu clicked on the system panel and found that the 9 transformation divine pill, Ruyi golden cudgel, and 5 clawed golden dragon egg from the superstore were missing, but there were many new items. Obviously, the items in this superstore are not fixed, but will be refreshed. His point balance is 17,455, almost all of which were obtained from the destruction of the entire Qinglong gang. The exchange rate of physique, soul, and energy is 100 to 1. Hey, suddenly, he seemed to have discovered something and his eyes widened. Magic egg. 999 points to redeem 1. Close double angle bracket. Unknown level, unknown species, unknown ability, also known as random eggs. Close double angle bracket. 99.99% chance of getting a first level to 9th level pet, 0.01% chance of getting a god level pet. Close double angle bracket. 0.01% chance of getting a god level pet. Thinking of the lucky draw and the 0.001% chance of obtaining a god level skill, Lin Shu's heart skipped a beat. Without hesitation, he immediately pushed the redemption button vigorously, hoping for a miracle. The magic egg shook violently, as if it was about to explode. Dong dong. The next second, a watermelon-shaped egg fell out of the system and landed directly on Lin Shu's feet. The pain made him howl and jump. Hiss. This egg actually weighs more than 300 kilograms. If his physique hadn't reached the 4th level, this foot would have been smashed to pieces. System, did you do this on purpose? He shouted angrily. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 9th level Holy Beast egg. Species. Sacred Tiger of the Sky. Theoretically, it can evolve infinitely. Attributes. Space System, Wind System, Thunder System, Light System. Skill. None, not yet awakened. Status. Sleeping. Ask the host to spend 10,000 points to exchange for a life crystal to wake it up from dormancy. Spending 10,000 points to redeem a life crystal to wake it up from its dormant state. Lin Shu was speechless. But in order for the holy pet to be born, no matter how distressed he was, he finally exchanged it for a life crystal. Buzz. As soon as the life crystal came close to the egg body, it was absorbed by a mysterious force. Thump, thump. Suddenly, the sound of a heartbeat was heard from the 9th level holy egg, and traces of runes and blood streaks spread on the surface of the eggshell. Under Lin Shu's Sharingan eyes, he vaguely saw a dark figure moving, and then slowly opened his eyes. Lin Shu had a unique feeling when they looked at each other. It was as if the little guy in the egg had some kind of blood relationship or special soul relationship with him. Master, I'm so hungry, so hungry. A milky and weak voice came from the egg's body. It is worthy of being a 9th level holy beast, able to speak even before it is born. You must know that ordinary monsters need at least 5 levels to be able to speak human words, and 6 levels to gradually transform. If you want to completely transform into a human form, you must reach the 7th level of Demon King. You're hungry, so come out, otherwise how will you eat? Lin Shu asked as he tapped the egg body. Master, I'm too hungry, I have no strength, I can't get out, the little guy said aggrievedly. What, can't get out? Do you want him to break the eggshell? Lin Shu was dumbfounded. Because Holy Grace has just woken up, its physical strength and energy are seriously insufficient, and it is unable to break out of its shell. The system recommends that the host exchange the Tiger Element Crystal for it to be absorbed, so that it can be born sooner. The more energy the holy pet absorbs in the egg body, the higher and more powerful it will be after birth, in terms of level and combat effectiveness. In addition to the Tiger Element Crystal, the holy pet can also absorb demon crystals, heavenly materials, earthly treasures, and elixirs to grow, but the effect is far less than that of the Tiger Element Crystal. Lin Shu looked through the superstore and finally found the so-called Tiger Element Crystal. Tiger Crystal, a type of energy crystal that can only be condensed by tiger females of level 7 or above. It is also called the Young Tiger Companion Crystal. This kind of crystal contains the original energy of the tigress. After the tiger cubs absorb it, they can grow at a high speed. Level 7 Tiger Element Crystal, 10,000 points each. 8th level Tiger Element Crystal, 100,000 points each. 9th level Tiger Element Crystal, 1,000,000 points each. Looking at the expensive price, Lin Shu couldn't help but say something about the quintessence of Chinese culture. You must know that the 5-clawed golden dragon egg of the mythical beast only cost 999,999 points, but a 9th level Tiger Element Spar was actually 1 point more expensive. No wonder the old man often says that it is easy to give birth to a son but difficult to raise a son. Master, I'm so hungry, give me something to eat quickly. The little guy's begging sounds kept coming from inside the shell, and he sounded a little weaker than before. Looking at the remaining 6,456 points, the corners of his mouth twitched sharply. Not to mention the 9th level Tiger Essence Crystal, he can't afford even the lowest 7th level Tiger Essence Crystal. At this moment, he couldn't help but regret exchanging such a magical egg, even if it gave birth to a 9th level Holy Tiger of the Sky. It seems that we must go to the Black Demon Forest. A cold light flashed in his eyes. There are ferocious birds and beasts everywhere, which is undoubtedly a lot of points for him. But before that, he still had to find a way to get some demon crystals and crystal nuclei for the little guy in the egg to absorb temporarily. After putting the holy beast eggs into the system, he took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. Hello, Xiao Yanyan, it's me. More than 2 hours later, the most prosperous area in Gangneung, Wanbao Tower. Welcome Mr. Lin to our Wanbao Tower. Please come inside. When Lin Shu got out of the car, he was greeted by a middle-aged man and 2 waitresses wearing cheongsams with smiling faces. Wan Miaoyan, if you hadn't acted recklessly at Shangguan's house and offended Yaowang Valley, the elders would not have sent me to supervise you. In order to eliminate your negative influence on Wanbao Chamber of Commerce and the family, the clan leader even went so far as to personally apologize to Yaowang Valley. It's better for you. You didn't say a word of apology and even refused to video the family meeting. You are so bold. And you shamelessly said that Lin Shu is your boyfriend in public. Do you know how serious the consequences will be? Don't forget, you have been engaged for a long time. Fortunately, that person has entered a secret realm to practice in seclusion and doesn't know about it yet. Otherwise, don't say it's you, our entire family will be in disaster, and you will be the eternal sinner. Now I give you 3 days to hand over all the property management rights and bills under the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce, and I will fully take over from now on. And immediately hold a press conference, firstly to clarify the matter of abdicating the throne in favor of talents, and secondly to clarify the relationship with Na Lin Shu. The elders order you to personally catch Lin Shu and plead guilty to Yaowang Valley, otherwise you will be responsible for the consequences. In a luxurious office in Wanbao Building, a young man said arrogantly to Wan Miaoyan, a direct disciple of the Wan family, Wan Tianlu. Are you done? Wan Miaoyan glanced at him indifferently, stood up and left decisively. You, being so scorned by a woman, Wan Tianlu gritted his teeth in anger. Master Tianlu, don't worry. This girl is so arrogant, she will eventually suffer. A 70-year-old man sneered. You recovered so quickly after suffering such a serious injury. Mr. Lin, you are really a strange person. As soon as she saw Lin Shu, Wan Miaoyan's eyes sparkled, and she swung her hips and hurriedly greeted him. Compared to Xiao Yanyan, the most talented person in Zhongling's business community, President Wan Da, and the naturally charming Queen Wan Mei, I am nothing at all. Lin Shu said with a disapproving smile. Hey, Mr. Lin, you are too humble. You single-handedly destroyed the entire Qinglong gang last night, Wan Miaoyan joked. She stared intently at Lin Shu's face, as if she wanted to see some clue. Want to test the young master? Lin Shu smiled jokingly in his heart. Immediately he shook his head slightly and said, destroy the Qinglong gang. You think too highly of me. That is one of the 5 gangs in Zhongling. Huh, is it really not him? Seeing his reaction, Wan Miaoyan's eyes flashed with doubt. The next second she smiled charmingly and said, Master Lin comes here this time, doesn't he simply want to see Miao Yan? Half an hour later, dear Mr. Lin Shu, you have spent a total of 1.92 billion. The waitress at the cashier front desk bowed respectfully at 90 degrees and handed back the bank card with both hands. Master Lin has purchased so many crystal stones, demon crystals, and some healing elixirs. Could it be that he is preparing to enter the Black Demon Forest? Hearing this, Wan Miaoyan's beautiful eyes lit up. To be honest, the little girl also plans to try her luck at that ancient ruins. Can we go together? She looked forward to it. Are you the Lin Shu who doesn't know the heights of the world and dares to openly challenge Yaowang Valley? Come on, take this person down immediately. However, before Lin Shu could answer, an arrogant and domineering voice sounded from behind. The person making the noise is none other than Wan Tianlu. What, you are all deaf and blind? Can't you hear what I say? Or is it that my words have no effect? I'm telling you, it won't take long before the entire Wanbao Chamber of Commerce will be in my hands. Anyone who disobeys my orders will get out. Seeing that the bodyguards of Wanbao Tower were still standing still, Wan Tianlu's anger suddenly burst out. After hearing this, everyone became hesitant and focused their attention on Wan Miaoyan. Wan Tianlu, you have no place to speak here. You are the one who should get out. Wan Miaoyan was furious. The reason why Wanbao Chamber of Commerce is what it is today is entirely due to her alone. Nowadays, the family randomly sends someone here to take away her power, which is simply wishful thinking. What's more, it's such a waste in front of you. Are you determined to protect this pretty boy and fight against the entire group of elders? Veins popped up on Wan Tianlu's face. Miss Miaoyan, I advise you to think carefully. Although this kid has awakened his SSS talent, he doesn't have any power to back him up. Even if he enrolls in one of the 4 major martial arts schools, it will be difficult for him to succeed in the future. If you offend Yaowang Valley or even that existence for him, you are destroying your own future. Listen to what I say, and take this son with your own hands and hand it over to Yaowang Valley. Only then can we solve this crisis and regain the trust of the family elders. The 70-year-old man who followed Wan Tianlu said with a sneer in his eyes. Wan Miaoyan looked ugly. Didn't she know what the other party said? But Lin Shu had saved her life in Shangguan Mansion, how could he repay the favor? And her intuition told her over the years. As long as the boy in front of her is given some time, he will become a giant and strong person in the human race in the future. As a businessman, what she wants to do is not to suppress or kill them, but to win them over as soon as possible. As the ancients said, it is better to provide help in the snow than to add icing on the cake. After getting along with each other several times, she has gradually been impressed by him. The boy seemed to have a unique charm that made her feel at ease. Get out of the way. I have a phobia of giant objects. If I get sick, things won't be easy to solve. Just when the whole place fell into a tense atmosphere, Lin Shu stood in front of Wan Miaoyan, shooing flies away impatiently. You, an adopted son of the Xiaoyi family, dare to talk to me like this? You are so outrageous. It's just because of you. Now that I'm here today, I can't even think of leaving. I must give an explanation to Shiwang Valley. How dare you provoke the people of Yaowang Valley without even looking at your identity? Do you really think that after awakening a 3S talent, you will be arrogant from now on? I tell you, there will never be a shortage of geniuses in this world, and casual cultivators like you are destined not to become kings. Also, does your having macrophobia have anything to do with me? Does it have anything to do with it? Wan Tianlu looked arrogant, shouting at Lin Shu with his nostrils pointing upward. If Yao Wanggu has the ability, let them come to me in person. As for you, why doesn't it matter? Stay away from me immediately, because I'm afraid of the idiot. Lin Shu smiled contemptuously. Ha ha, he he. As soon as he said this, some bodyguards and waiters snickered secretly. Macrophobia, afraid of giant idiots. Wan Tianren was stunned for a while before he slowly came back to his senses. Asshole. You actually called me a big idiot. He also uses a roundabout way of cursing. He was so angry that he rolled up his sleeves and wanted to educate Lin Shu. He wanted to let him know that some people were not easy to offend or get drunk on. Snap. A slap echoed throughout the audience. Everyone was stunned and looked like they had seen a ghost. Are you deaf? I told you to get out of the way. Don't block the way. What? You're not convinced, and you're still staring. As he said this, Lin Shu's eyes turned cold and he slapped Wan Tianlu hard in the face. Buzz. Buzz. The 2 sudden slaps made Wan Tian's head buzz and his eardrums ruptured. He came to Zhongling City this time to seize the power of Wanbao Chamber of Commerce. But now that he has not yet ascended to the throne, he has been slapped in the face in public. How will this make other people view him? Ah, how dare you slap me, I'm going to kill you. He roared in anger and shame, and his spiritual power exploded with a bang. What a powerful aura, worthy of being a direct disciple of the Wan family. This person's spiritual power has reached 300 points, which is enough to be considered a leader among the younger generation. Master Lin is in trouble now. Although he has awakened his 3S talent, his training time is too short after all. Some employees of Wanbao Tower said solemnly. The opponent indiscriminately wanted to capture him as soon as he came up, and now he wants to kill him. Do you really think that you are a weakling? Lin Shu's eyes turned cold. Kill me. It's up to you. Call out. He turned into an afterimage, his right hand holding Wan Tianlu's neck like an iron claw. Bang, bang. The shocking force knocked over 2 wooden cabinets one after another. However, he did not stop, but as if lifting a chicken, he rubbed Wan Tianju's face hard against the ground. Ah, my face hurts me so much. Under Lin Shu's violence, his face was instantly scratched, and a long bloody trail was drawn across the ground. What, weren't you very arrogant just now? Didn't you want to capture me and hand me over to Yaowang Valley? Do the so-called direct disciples of the Wan family only have this little ability? There was a click. Lin Shu stood down and stepped on his chest. Suddenly, Wan Tianlu's entire chest was deeply dented, and the sound of broken bones could be heard. The severe pain caused his eyes to bulge and spurt out blood. Everything happens in that flash of lightning. Seeing such a dramatic scene in front of them, everyone's eyes widened except for Wan Miaoyan, and their minds felt like a bolt from the blue. Evil, stop it, The 70-year-old man was furious, with an extremely terrifying aura emanating from his whole body. This time he came to Zhongling City on the order of Wan Tianlu's elders. His most important task was to ensure Wan Tianlu's safety. But now that the person he protects is being brutalized and tortured like this, how can he deal with it? Boom! The astonishing spiritual pressure caused many shelves and vases to fly and shatter. Master Lin, run away quickly. This person is a late-stage 6th-level martial master with a spiritual power value of 80,000. You are definitely no match. Wan Miaoyan shouted anxiously. Can you run away? The 70-year-old man sneered. As soon as his spiritual power escaped, he appeared in front of Lin Shu, pressing his shoulder with terrifying pressure in his right hand. When pressed down, a sonic boom sounded in the space. This shows how amazing the power contained in this blow is. Even if Lin Shu's physical body reached the 4th level, if he received this blow head-on, half of his body bones would be crushed. At the critical moment, he used his fugue and disappeared from his place instantly. Seeing him disappear out of thin air, the 70-year-old man looked stunned. But the next second, a strong sense of danger suddenly surged in my heart. The space was distorted, and Lin Shu silently sprang out from behind it. With a stroke of his right hand, the dry gray chaotic rootless water emerged and wrapped around his palm. His eyes were cold and he said, "Old man, let me cripple your arm first." Gulu. The gray chaotic rootless water instantly enveloped the entire stone arm of the 70-year-old man. Suddenly his expression changed suddenly, and he looked terrified. Because he felt a strange force swallowing all the water in his arm. Including bones, meridians, flesh and blood, etc. Water. What the hell? I broke it open. Boom. Frightened and angry, he poured all the spiritual power in his body into his right arm, causing it to shine with dazzling light. After a while, he gasped for air. His expression was frightened, beads of sweat the size of soybeans fell down his cheeks, and his breathing and heartbeat became rapid. Even though the young man's figure had long since disappeared without a trace, he still felt lingering fear. If he hadn't reacted in time, he would have destroyed the gray water on his arm with his crushing spiritual power. Now my arm is afraid of being destroyed. What a weird junior. Today's incident has completely forged a hatred. If you can't kill it, there will be endless troubles. He thought to himself. Lin Shu, even if I dig 3 feet into the ground, I will kill you. Wan Tianlu, half of his face destroyed and bloody, screamed with bloodshot eyes. Such a shame. This hatred is irreconcilable. Call. Seeing Lin Shu leave safely, Wan Miaoyan finally let go of her hanging heart and breathed a sigh of relief. Then, she looked at Wan Tianlu with disgust. The damage to the property you caused today will be settled by the president within 1 day. Come here, drag him out so as not to scare away the customers and affect Wanbao Building's business. Yes, President, a group of bodyguards said in unison and carried Wan Tiantang away. Wan Miaoyan, don't go too far. Wan Tianlu roared, the anger in his heart unable to be vented. My spiritual power is 800, and that old man's is 80,000, which is 100 times different. Even if my chaos rootless water is a 5s-10s god-level talent, it will still be difficult to make up for the energy gap. With the power of the 3 attributes of drought, cold, and softness, if the enemy is careless, he can surprise and kill some early-stage 6th-level warriors. The 6th-level warrior is still capable of fighting in the middle stage. He can even be killed by using Sharingan power and 8-gate dungeon. After leaving Wanbao Tower, Lin Shu made a rough estimate of his combat power. Put some demon crystals and crystal cores into the system, and the holy tiger egg of the sky will absorb them instantly. Soon, the little guy's breathing became more and more stable, and his heartbeat became stronger and stronger. As if full, it fell asleep and snored like thunder. Lin Shu looked helpless at this. I lamented that this guy is no different from a pig. In addition to eating, He just sleeps. I don't know how far it will grow when it breaks out of its shell. Second level spiritual pet. Third level spiritual pet. Fourth level spiritual pet. It can't be the first level, right? If this is the case, it would be better to spend the points and training resources on yourself. Boom, boom. Suddenly, there was a commotion ahead. The sand and dust were billowing, and some small business doors were overturned, causing people to flee in panic. Behind it, there was a giant creature 5 meters tall and 10 meters long that was running rampant in pursuit. At this moment, a voice that was very familiar to Lin Shu sounded. Demon Pig, let's see where you run away this time. You openly attack humans, commit many evil acts, and commit heinous crimes. Today I will transform into a messenger of justice to eliminate you and purify your ugly soul. Please all lights of justice obey my call. Transform into Ultraman Justice. Bang! A dazzling, sacred light rose into the sky, as if swearing to the world that there was still light and justice. When all the light converged, the human hero, Ultraman Justice, appeared. Superhuman. An old woman's eyes widened with disbelief on her face. Because she lived to be 80 years old, and this was the first time she saw the rumored Superman. Dad didn't lie to me, there really is Ultraman. A little girl who was frightened underground said excitedly and clapped her hands. It turns out there is really light in this world. The girl's mother also murmured in shock. Looking at Ultraman, who was wearing armor and looking righteous, Lin Shu looked strange. If you don't think the squad leader Lu Dehua, who has peak A-level talent, who could he be? It's just that the other party's awakening of the so-called Ultraman Justice is different from what he imagined. It is not a superhuman Tiga that can become huge, like a high-rise building. But it's the kind of masked Superman Black or Kamen Rider who that's almost the same as his real body. The monitor is still so nosy. Oh, no, it should be said that the sense of justice is still as strong as ever. Lin Shu laughed jokingly and continued running forward. Demon Pig. A second-level pig demon that mutates due to evil spirits. They have huge bodies, rough skin and thick flesh, and have amazing defensive capabilities. It has a violent and irritable personality and feeds on ordinary domestic animals and even humans. Its amazing impact force can easily destroy a house. Roar! Seeing that this weak human being in front of him dared to stand in front of him, the demon pig was so angry that he exhaled from his nostrils and his eyes were red. Boom! Boom! It accelerated like crazy and crashed into Lu Dehua, who had transformed into Ultraman Justice, trying to smash him into pieces. Evil can never defeat light, and justice has no fear. Lu Dehua roared, and his whole body moved at high speed like a ray of light to face it. There was a bang. The demon pig remained motionless, but Dehua was knocked several dozen meters away, with a corner of his armor shattered. No, Superman lost. As the so-called light just a flash. Some citizens exclaimed, while others were disappointed. Seeing him lying motionless on the ground, the demonic pig was extremely arrogant and kept making pig noises. The airflow it spurted out was enough to lift a car. However, it didn't just let the human in front of it go. It raised its thick pig leg and tried to trample Lu Dehua into a pulp. How can it be so easy to be a hero? Lin Shu shook his head and sighed, preparing to take action. When it comes to a classmate, you can't just ignore it. Although the monitor usually has a serious and stern face, he actually has a good character. Come on Superman, you are my idol Ultraman, you will never lose. I believe in light, Ultraman is invincible. At this moment, a group of children had firm eyes, holding Ultraman toys and dolls and shouting. I heard it. I hear the voice of justice. The people's cries are heard. The world needs me. Monitor Lu Dehua suddenly opened his eyes. He jumped up, all the power and brilliance gathered into his right fist and roared, the ultimate move, the Fist of Justice. Boom! The demon pig, which was 10 meters long and 5 meters tall, fell to the ground. A human-sized fist mark appeared on its chest, its eyes turned white, and its mouth continued to bleed. Look, the demon pig is dead. Great, we are finally saved. Seeing the demon pig fall to the ground, people cheered. Some children even danced and excitedly ran towards their idol Ultraman Justice. The Fist of Justice exhausted Lu Dehua's spiritual power, and the armor on his body disappeared. Wow, it turns out it was you who changed me, big brother. You are so sharp. Superman, transformation. When I grow up, I want to be like you, big brother, and be a great hero who saves mankind and upholds justice. Ultraman Justice fights monsters. The little kids were excitedly surrounding Captain Lou, their little eyes full of admiration. After being violently hit by the demon pig, his internal organs felt like they were being torn apart. But looking at these innocent children in front of him, he still endured the great pain, put on a handsome victory pose and shouted loudly, "The light will always be there, and justice will prevail. There is always light, and justice will prevail. There is always light, and justice will prevail." The children booed one after another. Hey, I have gained another group of little fans. It seems that my class monitor has been doing well recently. Lin Shu came close and patted Lu Dehua on the shoulder. This shot almost caused the latter to stumble and fall. Classmate Lin Shu finally found you. Something big happened. Do you know that fat guy from class 5, Wang Sikong? After discovering that it was Lin Shu, Captain Lu was surprised, and immediately seemed to be worried about something. But he was only halfway through his words when his expression suddenly changed. Roar. An angry roar was deafening. Click, click. Many house glass and car windows were shattered. I saw that the demon pig that was knocked down by Lu Dehua before stood up again, and an even more terrifying demonic aura erupted from all over his body. Bake, bake. Its huge nostrils burst out like a volcanic crater with blazing flames. The demon body is growing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and those scarlet eyes are like two huge lanterns, making people's fur tingle. Ah, the black demon pig is resurrected. Daughter, run quickly. No, this monster has evolved. The crowd once again caused a stir, car horns honked, and the chaos was extreme. Looking at the even bigger, violent, and terrifying behemoth in front of him, Lu Dehua muttered in a daze, "The third-order monster, the demonic flame wild boar." The strength of the third-level demonic flame mad pig is far superior to that of the second-level demonic pig, and he was seriously injured and could no longer transform again. For a moment, he fell into deep despair. Wow, I'm so scared. Mom, where are you? Just when he was lost in thought and panicked. The cries of the children around him once again awakened the fighting spirit and justice in his heart. Gritting his teeth, he opened his broad arms to hug the child, and lay down with his seriously injured body to protect him. It's not that he doesn't want to fight. It's not that he doesn't want to escape. But he was seriously injured and his spiritual power was exhausted, so he could only protect others in this way. Even if he loses his life, he will never regret it. Because since childhood, his wish has been to become a hero who stands upright and embodies justice. Especially after he awakened the talent of Ultraman Justice, the pinnacle of the Superman system, A-level. This sense of justice and heroism has become 10 or 100 times stronger than before. How dare this ant-like human in front of me hurt myself? Roar. The demonic flame wild boar was burning with rage, opening its bloody mouth and swallowing Lu Dehua and the others. No, don't eat my son. Who can save my daughter? Some parents were helplessly paralyzed on the ground, crying heartbrokenly. Suddenly, Lu Dehua turned his head sharply as if he thought of something. Lin Shu, why are you still standing there? Run away. It has evolved into a third-level demonic flame wild boar. Even if you awaken the SSS-level natural water talent, you will never be a match for this pig demon. He shouted in dismay. But Lin Shu remained motionless, with dissatisfied eyes and shouted at the demon flame wild boar, "Noisy." Immediately, he raised his right palm and slapped it fiercely. The next second, Lu Dehua saw a scene that would be unforgettable in this life. Boom! Under Lin Shu's seemingly indifferent slap, the previously extremely arrogant and thunderous demon flame boar was instantly knocked down. Its head exploded open, blood flowed wildly, and minced meat flew everywhere. Dong dong. An eyeball the size of a watermelon rolled down, but it was still turning, staring at Lin Shu in front of him. As if he couldn't believe that he, who had evolved to the third level of monster beast, would be slapped to death by a seemingly weak young man. Lin Shu frowned and his pupils shrank slightly. Poof! A strange black flame rose out of thin air and instantly burned the eyeball to ashes. He walked up to the body of the demonic flame wild pig, merged his 5 fingers into a knife, and cut through the pigskin as hard as iron with just one stroke. After groping for a while but not finding the demon crystal, there was a hint of disappointment in his eyes. Shaking away the blood in his hand, he squatted down and looked at the stunned Lu Dua. What did you just say? What happened to Fatty? Lin Shu, you. Lu Dua seemed not to hear his words, but stared with big eyes in disbelief. Dead. A third-level monster was killed just like that. Or was he killed easily and effortlessly? Could he be dreaming? Snap. Suddenly, a slap hit Lu Dua's face. Feeling the burning pain, he finally came to his senses. Wang Sikong from Class 5, he is dead. Boom. As soon as he said these words, a terrifying murderous intent erupted from Lin Shu like an ancient beast, and rubbles on the ground began to float. The fat man is dead. The fat man who had been friends with him through life and death many times was dead. At this moment, Lin Shu felt that the whole world was collapsing, and a surge of rage surged in his heart. Who killed him? He roared with a ferocious face. Soon, Lin Shu came to Fatty's house. However, the familiar old house in the past has long disappeared. Instead, there was a piece of ruins that was completely charred and destroyed. The night before yesterday, when I was sleeping, I suddenly felt an ominous premonition. If I guess correctly, there will be a disaster in the city. Because since I awakened Ultraman Justice, my super-sensory perception has been very sharp and accurate. So I transformed decisively to prevent this tragedy and disaster from happening. But, it's still a step too slow. When I arrived, this place had been blown up, with flames rising into the sky. I wanted to rush in and save people several times, but I was forced to retreat by the fire because I was not strong enough. Later I found out that this was the home of Wang Sikong, the fat man from Class 5, and the matter quickly spread in the school. Teacher Mew and I knew that you had a very good relationship with him, so we called you immediately, but your phone number never got through. Lu Dua lowered his head and said apologetically. If he could have arrived earlier that night, or if he was stronger, maybe. Hey, he sighed helplessly in his heart. Is Lao Lin back yet? Let's have lunch together. Where is the person? Why didn't you reply to the message? Are you trying to trick some lost girl or the widow in the village again? Quote ? What kind of plane are you on? All the phones are turned off. Something happened. Is Lao Lin here? Call me quickly, I have something important to tell you. I'm sorry, Lao Lin, I have to leave. Seeing the last message sent by the fat man, Lin Shu was trembling all over. He could no longer suppress the emotions in his heart, and his eyes were red. Judging from this information, Fatty must be in trouble. On the day when he returns to Yi Mansion to celebrate Yi Ma's birthday, if he insists on asking him, he might be able to change something. If he had not gone to Shangguan Mansion that day and had not been involved in the dispute with the Divine Lotus sect and the Shui Biao gang and was injured and comatose for 3 days, maybe Fatty would not have died. Thinking of all the past with Fatty, his heart felt like it was stabbed by a sharp knife, making it difficult to breathe. That sense of grief, suffocation, depression, and regret kept flooding into his heart. He clenched his hands into fists and shouted to the sky unwillingly. Seeing him in such pain, Lu Dua wanted to step forward to comfort him, but he didn't know what to say. Wait, how could Fatty's house suddenly explode for no reason? Lin Shu turned around suddenly and stared at Lu Dua with bloodshot pupils. The latter was so frightened that his forehead was covered with sweat and he felt tremendous pressure. The people in the patrol room did not give an accurate answer. They said that they might have been attacked by monsters or aliens, and they did not rule out man-made attacks. Lu Dua said solemnly. There was a street stall not far from the two of them, and a pair of brothers were selling CDs. Brother, look, that man looks so much like he was fighting and robbing us before. One person pointed at Lin Shu and stammered in horror. Holy crap, it's really him, run away. Looking at Lin Shu's familiar face, the other person suddenly got excited and quickly packed up the CDs in the ground to escape. They were the same pair of thieves who had robbed Lin Shu outside Wanbao Tower before, but were robbed. Lin Shu frowned as if he was aware of it, and suddenly appeared in front of the two of them with a whoosh. Master, please forgive me. Boss, we really haven't committed any more robberies since that time. I'm not lying to you. Look, we two brothers are now selling CDs. Lin Shu's elusiveness frightened the two of them and fell to the ground, and they immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. Do you know them? Squad leader Lu also came over and asked with a puzzled look on his face. Lin Shu ignored it, but looked at the two thieves indifferently. Have you been selling CDs here? Yes, yes. After being taught by you, big brother, we have changed our past and become self-reliant. The two thieves and brothers were as submissive as chickens pecking at rice. Then what can you see and know here? Boss, you are referring to the explosion. That, it really wasn't us, you believe us. The night before yesterday, we brothers had a little drink and happened to pass by here and saw a fat father and son. The old one even kicked the younger one's ass, and the two entered the house noisily. There was a faint sound of something being smashed. We didn't mind our own business. Just when we were about to leave, a sports car and a van came. Brother Thief suddenly hesitated to speak, as if he was afraid of something. Say, Lin Shu opened his eyes, and invisible momentum surged out. Boss, calm down, I say. The two thieves, the brother and the thieves, were so frightened that they fell to the ground with bloodless faces. I saw Mr. Cheng's grandson. What is his name? Yes, my name is Cao Chong. I heard that he has awakened the Thunder Dragon Spear of the S-class weapon system. He led 7 or 8 people into the house aggressively, and soon there were sounds of fighting and screams. Also, a girl in a red dress got out of the sports car. She looked very familiar before, but I never remembered her identity. Now that I remember, her name is Jo Hong, and her mother is from the Yu family. That day she came over and threatened us brothers, saying that if we dared to talk too much, she would turn us into corpses. We were so scared at the time that we fled immediately. It wasn't until I fled 200 to 300 meters away that I suddenly heard a huge explosion, and the flames instantly engulfed the entire house. After that, I saw a group of them fleeing the scene quickly in panic. Facing Lin Shu's sense of oppression, Brother Thief did not dare to hide anything. Did you recognize the wrong person? Lin Shu's eyes turned cold as he heard these two familiar names. I swear, it's them. That's right. Although we drank a little, we were definitely not drunk. Wrong, it can't be wrong. Brother Thief and Brother Thief both swore to each other. He originally thought that Jo Hong had died in the massacre at Shengguan's house, but he didn't expect that she was still alive. This woman has made trouble for him time and time again, and now she dares to attack the fat man. She is simply looking for death. Cao Chong, Jo Hong, I want you to pay with blood. Lin Shu roared in his throat, veins bulging out. Lin Shu, please don't act recklessly. Both Cao Chong and Jo Hong have 3 major families, the Cheng family and the Yu family, as backers. They are not something you can compete with. For fear that he would act recklessly, squad leader Lu Dehua hurriedly persuaded him. I heard from my friends that Cao Chong and Miss Cheng Yu from the Cheng family entered the Black Demon Forest this morning. We also brought a lot of guards. I'm afraid they are heading for the Suling fruit and super spiritual fruit in the ancient ruins. Brother Thief continued. Black Demon Forest. Hearing this, Lin Shu's pupils flashed with a cold light. People cannot be resurrected after death. Please forgive me, classmate Lin Shu. And the fact that you awakened your 3S natural water talent has spread throughout the country, and many martial arts schools have invited you. There are also people coming from the 4 major martial arts schools of Jinling, Tianwang, Holy, and Demonic Sword. I wonder which martial arts school you plan to attend. She spoke seriously to Lin Shu in the office of head teacher Mu Qingqing. At this moment, Lin Shu was not interested in any of the 4 major martial arts schools. In his heart, he only felt guilty for Fatty, and had hatred and murderous intention towards Cao Chong and Jo Hong. Teacher Mu, people from Jinling Martial Arts School and Demon Sword Martial Arts School approached me not long ago, but I want to enroll in Holy Martial Arts School because the first old dean is a legendary hero and has always been my idol. Lu Dehua said. It shouldn't be difficult to get admitted based on your potential, but I'm afraid you won't be able to get into the elite class. If you can shine in the college entrance examination 10 days later, or if you can evolve your A-level peak talent to S-level, or even awaken for the second time. Mu Qingqing looked at Lu Dehua, who was the squad leader, with deep meaning. From the moment I decided to be a hero of justice, I put my life behind me. In order to become stronger and to save more humans, no matter how dangerous the Black Demon Forest or the ancient ruins are, I will go and fight for that opportunity. Lu Dehua clenched his hands into fists and said firmly with eyes. Hearing this, Mu Qingqing showed high admiration. In this troubled world, only an unswerving mind can continue to grow stronger. Classmate Lin Shu, I heard from the monitor that you could kill a third-level demonic flame wild boar with just one slap. What kind of cultivation level do you have now? She asked with curious eyes. I think after she awakened her talent, she had to practice for 3 years before she could compete with the third-level monster. How long does it take for a boy to awaken his talent? He can be easily killed without using the power of his talent. Before that, the opponent was just a scumbag and a low-level student who had no connections and no spiritual power. With Lin Shu leading our Class 6 into the ancient ruins, the risk will be greatly reduced. I will go and tell the other students this good news, Lu Dehua said happily. Sorry, I plan to go alone. Before Mu Qingqing and Lu Dehua could persuade them to stay, Lin Shu decisively turned around and left. This time when he went to the Black Demon Forest, in addition to the Suling Fruit and Super Spirit Fruit, he also wanted to avenge the fat man. Traveling with other people will inevitably tie your own hands and feet. Hey, it seems that the murder of Wang Sikong's family was a huge blow to him. I hope he won't act recklessly and seek revenge on Cao Chong and Zhou Hong, otherwise I'm afraid he'll end up hitting a stone with an egg. Mu Qingqing shook his head and sighed. Being able to easily kill a third-level monster, Cao Chong and Zhou Hong were no match for Lin Shu. The problem is that there are a lot of 4th level, 5th level, and even 6th level experts from the Yu family and the Cheng family who accompanied them into the Black Demon Forest this time. No matter how evil this student is, it will be difficult to compete with him. 60 kilometers away, Lin Shu plunged into the sea like a loach and swam quickly toward the center. Deep under the sea, as he formed a seal, a colorless barrier appeared and continued to expand. In a flash of thought, all the crystal cores purchased at Wanbao Tower were suspended and shining around him. He closed his eyes and activated the god-level skill of water breathing. Buzz. In an instant, a mark of chaos appeared on the brow, flashing with gray, blue, and cyan lights. Sunset and moonrise. Shicheng Zaixiangcheng, a luxurious box. Brother Tianju, your face, a young man asked with a frown. The eldest son of the Qiangsheng Chamber of Commerce, Gao Kasheng. It's just a small situation, nothing serious, Wan Tianlu said with a smile. However, deep in his smile, there was a strong resentment. Seeing this, Gao Kasheng didn't ask any further questions. The Wanbao Chamber of Commerce and the Qiangsheng Chamber of Commerce are competitors. Although you are not the leader of the Wanbao Chamber of Commerce, you are a direct disciple of the Wanjia. I wonder why you are dating me this time, he said calmly after taking a sip of high-end red wine. I heard that Brother Kasheng suffered a big loss at the hands of a junior named Lin Shu not long ago. I wonder if the big revenge will be avenged. Wan Tianlu narrowed his eyes. That little beast, if he hadn't been pinched by Tianling Pavilion, I would have killed him without a burial place. Gao Kasheng's face instantly revealed a ferocious expression. Is that Mr. Zhang from Tianling Pavilion in charge? He can protect Lin for a while, but he can't protect him for a lifetime. I received news that this little fool is also going into the Black Demon Forest. I wonder if Brother Kasheng is willing to join forces to eradicate him completely. Wan Tianluin sneered. Time flies, 2 days have passed. At the junction of the outer forest and the inner forest of the Black Demon Forest, there was a distortion of nothingness. A huge vortex was condensed, wildly devouring the spiritual energy of heaven and earth within 100 miles radius. In everyone's shocked, excited, and greedy eyes, a huge, majestic ancient ruins filled with a wild atmosphere appeared. Look, it's finally turned on. Su Ling Guo and Super Spirit Fruit are all mine. Roar, roar. Some people screamed excitedly and rushed to the entrance. Puff. However, these talents instantly turned into a wisp of blood mist as they approached the entrance, leaving no intact corpses. What? All dead? Oh my god, what the hell is going on? Are they all over 20 years old? They don't look like it. The others were shocked and quickly retreated, their foreheads covered with sweat. Ha ha, a bunch of idiots who don't know how to live or die, they deserve to die. Not far away, a red-haired man laughed wildly. He was riding on the back of a lion-like monster with flames on its feet and a ferocious expression. Who are you? Are you still a human being to add insult to injury like this? Someone couldn't stand it and stood up to question. Bake. The red-haired man's eyes opened slightly. Ah, have mercy on, Save me. The man's body was burned by red flames, and there was a heart-rending scream, and he was wiped out in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, everyone was silent and looked horrified. Could that monster be the rumored red flame lion? Yes, I've seen it in the monster encyclopedia before. The red flame tyrant lion is the descendant of the burning sky holy lion. Once it reaches adulthood, it can have the strength of a demon king. Some of the best ones can even reach the demon king level. The Yan clan, one of the 10,000-year-old ancient tribes, has a sky-burning holy lion. It can burn down a city with just one sneeze. Wait a minute, this person has a red flame lion as his spiritual pet, and his hair and eyes are red. Could it be that he is from the Yan tribe? Boom. As soon as the name of the Yan clan came out, everyone's hearts trembled. That was a disciple of the ancient clan. He was powerful and arrogant. If ordinary people dared to provoke him, they would undoubtedly be digging their own graves. Boom, boom. The ground suddenly shook, and countless low-level monsters were frightened and fled in all directions. I saw billowing sand and dust in front of me, as if something huge was rushing towards me. Everyone, get out of the way. Don't block the way. I'm coming. A burst of excited laughter came, like the sound of thunder, deafening. Hiss. It was actually a monster beast that was more than 30 meters long and 20 meters high. Run quickly. That's a gluttonous dragon. Judging from its size, it may have reached level 6. Although it feeds on vegetarian food, its character is extremely violent, its skin and flesh are harder than steel, and it is difficult to be hurt by swords. And it's extremely powerful. If it hits you, a 6th level warrior will be seriously injured even if you don't die. Some discerning warriors exclaimed and quickly evaded. Perhaps it was too fast, and the gluttonous dragon couldn't stop it, and crashed into a huge rock dozens of meters high. There was a loud bang. The huge rock was instantly shattered into pieces, completely burying the gluttonous dragon. When everyone saw this scene, they were frightened and looked at each other. Roar. However, with a loud roar, the gravel was blown away instantly. Gluttonosaur was unharmed. On its dragon's back is a big boy who is 3 meters tall, with arms as thick as an ox and feet as thick as an elephant. He was dressed differently than ordinary people. He wore an unknown animal skin shorts on his lower body, and his upper body was naked, revealing his exaggerated and explosive muscles. He has short, straight hair, wears a metal black iron ring around his neck, and holds a huge mace in his hand. Who is attacking me? Come out and take a stick from me if you can. He shook his head and immediately glared at everyone. What? A surprise attack on you? It's obvious that you didn't control your mount well and hit a boulder. Hearing his shouts, everyone was speechless, but they did not dare to refute. Because even a fool can see that this big boy who looks like an ancient barbarian definitely has a lot of background. Let's not talk about the strength of the 6th order gluttonous dragon. Just the fact that the boy was still alive and well after being hit so hard was enough to shock the world. You idiot, you are here to join in the fun. Everything in this ancient ruins belongs to me, Yanju. The red-haired man frowned. Wanman, oh my god, he is also a member of the ancient tribe. It is said that the people of the Yan clan are born with the power of fire and are descendants of the god Yan. The people of the Yi tribe are born with infinite strength and strong physical bodies. They are the descendants of the god Yi. I really didn't expect that the opening of the ancient ruins would actually attract these human monsters to fight for it. I'm afraid we have no hope of getting the Suling fruit and super spirit fruit. Some people had ugly expressions and said helplessly. Su Ling Guo and super spirit fruit may be hopeless, but there are still those pills, weapons, exercises, weapon refining materials, etc. Yes, the disciples of the Wei and Yan tribes are so superior that they can't even look down upon ordinary treasures, but we are the same. Everyone was talking about it, but they were not deterred by the appearance of the red-haired man and the big boy. After all, practicing Taoism means competing with heaven for longevity and competing with earth for fate. You are the one who is stupid, and your whole family is stupid. Yanju, don't think that because you are 1 year older than me, I will be afraid of you. If you have the ability to fight me, let's see if I can smash you to pieces with one blow. Huan Man pointed the mace at Yanju and shouted domineeringly. Hearing this, Yanju's face turned gloomy. Boom. A terrifying flame exploded from his body, causing space to distort and the temperature to rise rapidly. The red flame tyrant lion was also covered in flames, staring fiercely at the gluttonous dragon under the beast with fierce eyes. Seeing the war is about to break out, many people were horrified and retreated one after another for fear of being burned. I advise you two to calm down first. If there is a big fight here, it will inevitably cause the 5th and 6th order monsters in Neelan to attack. Of course, with your strength and means, you may not be afraid. But if you consume physical and spiritual energy, once you enter the ruins, I'm afraid it will be difficult to compete with others for treasures. At this moment, a woman's voice sounded. Everyone followed the sound and found two young women under a giant tree not far away. The speaker was a woman in yellow. Behind her, there was a woman in a blue dress with a veil. From the slender figure and the faintly visible outline under the veil, this woman is most likely to be a beauty who will conquer the country. Who are they? How dare they interfere in the fight between the disciples of the ancient clans? It's her. Kei Ling, an elite disciple of Tianwang Martial Arts School, is a pure swordsman. Wow, she is the sword star Kei Ling who is ranked 7th on the Earth ranking. Suddenly, the crowd caused a stir. Anyone who can enter the top 100 on the land list is the best among the younger generation. Not to mention, it is the 7th ranked existence. It is said that this girl is only 19 years old, but her swordsmanship is very superb. She is also gifted with a sword and has the hope of becoming a sword master. An old man in his 70s said with solemn eyes. Kei Ling, a woman in yellow clothes, said as she raised her head to look somewhere into nothingness. At the same time, Huan Man and Yan Ju seemed to have noticed something, and their expressions suddenly changed. I didn't know when, but in the void above my head, there was a man in ancient white clothes standing. This person has long hair blowing in the wind, a slender figure, a handsome face, and a unique mark on his forehead that emits a faint holy light. It gives people a cold and sacred feeling, as high as the gods above the 9 heavens. Why is this guy here? Yan Ju felt as if he was facing a formidable enemy. After taking a look at Huan Man, he withdrew his flames. Upon seeing this, Huan Man also put away his mace, took out a roasted pig weighing over 1,000 kilograms from the space ring, and ate the meat in large chunks, 1 person and 1 dragon. What a guy! He makes the people of the Wei and Yan tribes so fearful. Who is this person? Standing in the sky, could he be a 6th level martial lord? With such cultivation at such a young age, could this person be the rumored son of God? The crowd was shocked and their eyes widened. Bang, bang, there was a commotion from behind the crowd. A large group of city guards wearing heavy armor and holding huge shields and spears arrived. The leader was none other than the city guard general Zhao Tiangong. This is the Black Demon Forest, not my human race's territory. Please try your best to avoid killing each other. As for the treasures in ancient ruins, those who are destined can get them. But I must remind you that although the entrance is open now, the space is not yet stable. If you enter rashly, you will be strangled by the space storm in an instant. Zhao Tiangong said loudly to everyone. When he looked at the man in white, Yan Ju, Huan Li, and Kei Ling, his eyes were particularly solemn, and there was a hint of deep fear. Deep under the sea, Lin Shu suddenly opened his eyes. Click, click. Suddenly, the crystal core beside him instantly shattered and turned into little rays of light and disappeared. Boom! The originally calm sea surface suddenly exploded, and a column of water rose into the sky. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.